Predator missile, team deathmatch, search and destroy.
90 seconds into the game, into the second half. McAllister, come on, Edison. I beg you, make a save. I beg you, make a save. Fucking hell.
Honestly, this Anfield is a sick of fucking Anfield. I really am.
All short there. He sold him so fucking short.
All that work, all the play, everything, and then you just throw it away like that. It's pathetic, man.
Every day of the week! Like, I don't even want to hear it. If the PGMOL have anything about them, that's a penalty. How? Look at it! Oh! How is that not a penalty? How is that not a penalty? Oh my god! Oh my god! You cheating scumbags! Robbed!
McAllister's still on the floor. Did he get kicked in the chest?
Scum! Scum!
That's a penalty!
Robbed! Scum! Cheating! Scumbags!
I can't take this shit, bro.
He's kicked him in the fucking nipple!
A clear penalty, but the referees have no balls. He kicks McAllister there.
Oh my god, he's just fucking that karate kicked him, mate.
No penalty given.
I can't take this shit, bro. I can't take this shit, bro.
Not given!
Scumbags!
Lose, pig steak off.
Yes! Crossed in! Hammer! Yeah! Woo! Donkey! Donkey! The donkey wins it for Arsenal! Oh my days! Come on! Let's fucking go! Come on! Oh my days! Come on! Havertz! Get in there!
Oi, we fucking scored. Finally. 29.
I'm about to see it. I'm about to see it.
29 scored. Lucky's on the pitch.
Nice.
Welcome back to the Top 6 show. It's a Monday. It's a little earlier today, 5 p.m, because Chelsea kick off tonight. We're sponsored by our wonderful friends at Match Bingo again. The best game to play during any football match. We'll go through more of that later. Smash the like buttons and subscribe. Look at this brilliant panel. We're joined tonight by Kaz. We've got man like Jaws on here. Legendary Gem is back with us as well. Long time no see. Dale is here with us, making his debut on the Top 6. Rory Talks Football is here. And the man, the myth, the legend, listen, I've seen some of your Instagram stories as well recently. The beefcake that is Chatty Patty is in the house. How are you all doing, gentlemen? We good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. I've got iftar in about an hour. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
That intro was hilarious. I was just laughing at Curtis Shaw, the donkey noises.
I was creasing at Lee Gunner, man. He looked fuming. Like, he generally looked fuming.
He looked pissed off. He looked pissed off.
Hey! Last minute winner to go top of the league, and it's granted with thank God we scored. I've never seen a celebration like it. I never know what they're going to look like until you start watching them. And he's one made me laugh the most because it was almost like he wanted to celebrate, but he thought, I can't. I don't know, maybe, but yeah, there we go. An interesting weekend of football, lots to unpack, and I wanted to start really with Liverpool because a lot of claims today that they were robbed. A lot of claims today that there should have been a Stonewall penalty in the game. I'm going to go first to Rory on this because I know you wouldn't have wanted that penalty to have been given because a draw was perfect for your Arsenal. But do you think they were hard done by in the end, Liverpool?
Yeah, I 100% think it was a penalty. I think like it's one of them where just anywhere else on the pitch it's given. Everyone knows anywhere else on the pitch it's given. And the only thing McAllister, if McAllister goes to head the ball and it's at head height, if he goes to head the ball, I think he gets the penalty. If he'd been braver and gone to head it, he'd have been kicked in the face, but they'd have won the penalty. But the only way Doku can win the ball is by endangering McAllister, which is what he did. So even though there's not like a massive amount of force behind the contact. I just think, like, I think Michael Oliver refereeing Man City games is a massive, massive problem. I said it earlier in the season. I said there's a massive conflict of interest, and it's happened again. So it's not good. It's not good for the league.
Why is there a conflict of interest? Just for anyone that doesn't know.
Because the City owners pay him to go and referee in the UAE. So he's got he's making a decision. He's like, well, I've got potential jobs lined up in the future with people that have already paid me with the UAE and the City owners. So it's a problem.
I don't know about any of the conflict of interest stuff, but with regards to the penalty itself, he played the ball. Dogu played the ball. The ball was sort of at mid-level height. If we're being honest here, like, it's not like like Rory said, if he put his head down to go for it, it's a definite pen, because then he's tried to go for the ball with his head. But when the ball's at a mid-level height, you'd expect both players to go for it with his feet. And if McAllister jumps into it with his body, but Doku goes for it with the ball with his feet, and he plays the ball, like, he literally went straight for the ball. And I don't see how it's a penalty, honestly. I looked at it a few times and I thought, if they gave a penalty, that's extremely harsh. Extremely harsh. And to get at that point in the game, and it's such a big game, it would be very harsh to go that way on a 50-50 and go and give it. I get what Rory's saying about the conflict of interest. It makes a bit of sense, but I definitely feel like this is a case of Liverpool fans crying yet again about refereeing decisions.
I can't lie. I changed my mind. I don't know about any. At first, I was saying it wasn't. I'm going to be honest. And I was saying it yesterday on live as well, that it wasn't a penalty. He got the ball first. And then I deeped it this morning. Mont showed me a different angle. His foot does hit his chest. That's a high foot. I can't lie. Any day of the week. I hate, but pause. I like.
He got you in that, George. Take a time out.
No, it was. I just think, like, I hate Liverpool. I don't care how they drop points, just drop points. But at the same time, I thought, you know what? If that was Man United and we was in a big game or of some sort that we need for ourselves, and that's happened at whatever minute, I'm fuming. Like, I'm legit fuming. And I look at that and I think it looked a little bit soft because it was no malicious intent, but high foot is high foot. Is it not? Last time I checked, that's a foul. So and I think most City fans,
I don't even think it matters if it's a high boot. If you marginally touch the ball and then you then stud someone foot, ankle, knee, stomach, chest, face, that's been a foul in football now for at least 10 to 15 years. Your follow through is every bit is assessed, and you can win the ball cleanly. How many tackles have you seen outside the box, of course, where the ball's won but excessive force is still used, so therefore a free kick's been given or a foul has been given? It just felt to me like the referee in that moment probably went, oh, no.
He had a good game as well, Terry.
If it was 15, 20 minutes earlier, he gives it. I think it was because it was the last minute of the game. He absolutely bottled it. I think the referee absolutely, and I think every single one of us, if it's Arsenal versus Spurs in a few weeks' time, George, it's 1-1. You're in Arsenal's box in the 98th minute, and Kai Havertz puts his foot up, gets his, the top part of his toenail to the ball, but then follows through and puts his studs into, I don't really care who, Van der Ven's chest. You're screaming penalty.
I just feel like it was very harsh. Like, I generally feel like he got the ball. Like,
if
you played the ball,
look at the height of the foot. You said mid-level. Look at the height of that foot. Please, my friend.
They're the same height as well, by the way.
No. Context here. Let's be realistic. He's kicking the man in the armpit with his studs, literally. That's the armpit.
That freeze frame's making it look a lot worse.
No. It doesn't matter.
There was barely any force into the actual player.
That's why I pulled this up. That's the reason I pulled it up. You can say freeze frame now. What she said was mid-level. That ball was a ball high enough for you to head. Literally.
Yeah. You can see the crease.
He never went for the header.
No, but that's not the point. He doesn't have to go for the header.
My point here is McAllister
you can't raise your feet that high.
But George, your point that if McAllister goes to head it, then it would have been a penalty.
I just think McAllister never played the ball at all.
But no, but you're saying if McAllister goes to head it, which he'd be entitled to do, it's going to be a penalty, which proves the point that the play itself was dangerous. It doesn't matter if McAllister goes for the header or not.
If it was aimed towards his head. My point is that McAllister never attempted to play the ball. He never went in with his foot. He never went in with his head. You can't go in with your chest. Let's be honest here. He didn't try to get the ball. He just stood in the way. He just stood in the way.
Listen, but you also can't go that high with your foot, though. and your studs showing. Whether I go in for the ball with my body or not, or my head, even if I stand in your way, there's no point in you raising your leg that high with your studs showing.
The freeze frame you showed was after the contact of the ball. He'd already hit the ball, and then his foot has gone higher.
Look,
at the point that he hit the ball, it was probably closer to his hip, the ball was, than it was his chest.
Jules, he's hurting at the end of the day. I'm a defender. I've hurt people before.
It's a contact sport.
I've been studied. It's just the way it goes, bro, mate. To be fair, he looked like he got the ball first. Then you look at another angle, then he looked like he got the chest and all that kind of stuff. Again, it's subjective, but I'm not going to sit here and start saying, "Oh, this team's a cheater." Michael Oliver had a good game up until that moment because it's subjective, isn't it? And it's going to cause controversy, which we're talking about right now. But the thing is, I think we're focused on the wrong thing with Liverpool. We're talking about a penalty. Really and truly, you should have buried your dinner, and you didn't.
What are you saying about it, Jem? I mean, because a lot of attention's been on the penalty, maybe not so much the 3 or 4 gilt-edged chances that Diaz should have taken.
Yeah, I agree. I think Liverpool should have took their chances in the game. They didn't. As a Chelsea fan, having the decisions against Liverpool in especially this season with VAR, them not getting one for me, if you look at it in hindsight, it's a bit like, well, it happens in a different game. I agree. I think them type of penalties, them type of tackles are given. And I remember the follow through against Enzo Fernandez by Romero at home, where he followed through but caught him on the top of his shin. And it went to VAR and they gave it straight away. But I always think once it's a follow through and your studs are high, what does it take? If McAllister had broken ribs, Jules, what would you have said then? Let's say if he'd followed through that hard, he'd broken his ribs. Then, it would have been a penalty. It's dangerous, bro. It's a dangerous tackle, man.
That's a big if he did follow through that hard, but he barely touched him. Let's not act like that freeze frame is not making it look a lot worse than it was. Because we all watched the game. In the game, it looked like he barely touched him. On the replay, they showed multiple times, looked like it barely scraped him. Touched his chest.
George, I ran that clip through a slow-mo back to back. At the contact of the ball, his foot was already at chest level. Yeah, I'm telling you. And that's why I just can't play that clip right now because it's going to cause a problem because of copyright issues. I can actually run it off and play the clip instead of you seeing me. So let's not do that. Like, that was a clear penalty.
I mean, we can moan about.
Are you saying the player can't play the ball with his chest? Are we not allowed to chest the ball? Or are we not? No. So my point is,
position. No, but Dio, in the position that McAllister was in, was he going to play the ball with his chest?
No. Here's the point.
Be realistic here.
Listen. But the level of the ball, the part of your body that you probably should go with should be your chest, or you want to head it down at that level of the height of the ball. Your feet should not be anywhere there unless you're doing a bicycle kick. Doku wasn't doing a bicycle kick. What Doku was going for was trying to clear the ball out. I mean, clear the ball back into the 18-yard box. With feet that high, studs showing, bro. Look, I'm an Arsenal fan, but that was a penalty. I wanted a draw. I honestly prayed for a draw. Literally prayed for a draw. Like, God of soccer, God of Jesus, all the gods available everywhere, please. We need a draw. Whatever you are, wherever you are, please give us a draw. But when I saw that, I was like, they have to give this penalty, because if they do that to me in the game against Man City, I'll be pissed. If they did that to you, let's say you played 0-0 with Aston Villa, and that happened at the end of the game, you got that penalty. Would you not ask for your penalty? You would.
I've said it's not a penalty. Whether it's Tottenham or Man City or Chelsea, it's not a penalty for me.
But you would want it. You would want it, though. Let's be serious. In the 90-odd minutes, someone getting studied in the chest, I don't know, Maddison, you would call for it. You would. Naturally, as a fan, you would, wouldn't you? You would.
I think everybody would. End of the day, Ram said it yesterday and a few others. You've played football at a good level, George. We were all taught as kids, you don't raise your leg above waist height. Every single one of us was taught that from a young age. There's a reason for it, because there's literally a law in the game about high boots. And we all know that winning the ball first, what if it's the other way around? What if it's a lower tackle? What if you win the ball, but then the leg that wins the ball hits his shin and snaps his shin in half? That's a red card, even though he's won the ball. There is absolutely, if Sadio Mane only a few years ago in the same fixture was sent off, goes up, touches the ball, but he stud clips the side of Edison's face, gives him stitches, complete accident, zero intent, but he was sent off. I just don't personally see, yes, one's in the face, one's in the chest, but it's the same. I've seen Luis Nani get sent off after winning the ball and then clattering into a man's mid-drift. It cost Man United. We would have beaten Madrid that day. We were better than them at the Bernabeu. We were better than them at Old Trafford. We were leading. And from that point on, they went to win. So I've seen it. I've never seen someone get a foot in the chest I've seen people not get sent off when they should, i.e. the World Cup final in 2010, but I've never seen it not given as a foul ever in football. Ever, not once. That's why, for me, I think defending it, you're entitled to your opinion, bro, and I respect it, but I've never seen that happen and a foul not be given ever in my life watching football. And I started watching in the 80s, bro, where you could almost punch people, and they still used to give fouls for those things. So I think Liverpool should feel hard done by on that decision. On City, a lot of their fans told us before the game that you wouldn't see us run through and counter-attack in the same way Man United and Copenhagen and Tottenham and others did when we play the better teams. I'm not trying to make an agenda like they're in trouble because they're one of the best teams in the world still. But their midfield certainly looks like it lacks control. They leak counter-attacks like a broken fridge leaks water. Why are they struggling in that area? I'd love to throw that out to the panel to get your opinions on that, because they don't look as formidable and as strong this year, even though they're a wonderful footballing side. What's the cause of that, Rory?
I think it's mainly, and I think it's stubbornness from Pep almost, but like Rodri just looks so isolated in midfield. And I get he is, arguably the best CDM in the world, but I think he's probably tired. Like, he looks a bit tired at the moment, and he's just being left completely alone. And I think the fact that Pep took De Bruyne off when he did and brought on Kovacic, and he said that the reason he did that was to get some control in the midfield. I think he's aware that it's a problem, but I don't think he knows how to fix it. I don't know if they've got the players to fix it. Like, I think they miss Gundogan, and I think they have lost control. And like you said, it's easy to run through them at the moment. And it doesn't help that, for me, like, Kyle Walker's sense of positioning is genuinely like so bad. And so even sometimes his pace can't help him out there. And I think this is going to be an issue for them for the rest of the season. Like, I'm looking at going to the Etihad, and unless they fix that midfield, which realistically means dropping either Bernardo Silva or potentially De Bruyne, I don't know. I think there is a big weakness there that we've not seen in the last couple of seasons.
Have we not learned our lesson yet? No? It's March 11th. Yeah. Actually, it's my ex's birthday. Happy birthday to you. Have we not learned a lesson about Man City yet? Like, when they come back from a break, like last year, like we're going on like they lost the game, they drew the game, and they don't ever win at Anfield, because when it was last, I have to play. Look, there's no City fan here, and obviously I'll try to play a little bit for them, just a little bit, because I hate Liverpool. So when they went when they went Etihad, Liverpool, and they got a point, we was all quick to clap for them. We was all to say, yeah, you got a point, you took them off the points of them, and then as soon as it goes the other way around, which they never win in, by the way, all of a sudden it's like, oh man, it's all doom and gloom. Come on, man, what are we doing here? One sec, Jules, because I need to go check on my food. What I'm trying to say is, like, yes, against the top six, I understand they have not been the greatest, right? That's it. Like, when it comes to it, but neither have Liverpool. So, but Arsenal have been the best when it comes to facing top six. I won't start saying that they're not really looking the same or anything at this moment of time until that Arsenal game. After that, I'll start making a bit more of a judgment, but I think it's a bit too premature, because I've learned my lesson over the years about this team and Pep Guardiola when he needs to get a tune out of some of these players. One thing I don't understand, though, which I thought was completely baffling, why he didn't play Diaz, but here we are.
I think the context you're missing, Cass, is when you look at the first Liverpool game and you look at this Liverpool game, was Liverpool missed a lot of players for this game. They was at home, yes, and when you look at Pep's record at Anfield, it's horrible. It's literally, I think, one win in 8 or 1 win in 9. Like, he never wins there. But when you look at the context, that they were missing Alisson, they're missing Matip, Konate, they were missing who was the midfield? Gravenberch, Curtis Jones. Like, they're missing a bunch of players. Jota, Salah, come on, for the last half hour, looked horrible. They're missing a lot of players. So you have to give them the credit that they went there and they done better than what a lot of people expected them to do, because people thought City were going to play them off the park with the full team they had. You have to give them praise for that. I do also see it, the fact that I agree with what Rory was saying. I think Kevin De Bruyne coming back is giving Pep a conundrum now, because this season he's looked at the start of the season and seen how Rodri and Bernardo play. They play very good together, and they always have. But he's always put someone else next to him, like a Kovacic or Nunes. He's always put someone who's a bit more defensively stout next to him. This is probably one of the first games that he's went and bought, I'm going to put KDB and Bernardo next to Rodri, which I think most of the people looking outside will say that doesn't really make sense. You're putting two very attacking players next to Rodri, who's going to now be isolated, and which we saw. Of course, Liverpool's midfield isn't as good as it was last season, but I feel like the way they play and the cohesion, especially with Endo, great performance yesterday, by the way. He was probably one of the standouts of the game. He was just overrun in midfield, pressed constantly, and they left him isolated. I feel like when Pep starts to throw the likes of Rico Lewis back in there or Kovacic back in there, they're not going to have as many of these problems, and we'll probably see that change come against Arsenal. So unfortunately for you, Roy, he will learn from it. This is what Pep does. He learns from his mistakes, and very quickly he'll make the changes that need to be done. But they were poor yesterday. I think City got absolutely played off the park in the second half. They didn't really have much going forward. And as well as another performer, I think a lot needs to be said about Haaland, man. I generally just think that Haaland's he's becoming a player who's just a passenger in the City team. I know we all thought that once they get a striker, they're going to go to the next level, but he's only playing, like, if we're being honest, he only has really good games against the smaller teams when he's getting a lot of the ball, being able to play with a bit more freedom. But in the big games, especially against the big players, the likes against like Saliba, when he's playing against Van Dijk, he gets marked out of the game. He adds absolutely nothing, no contribution yesterday, and words need to be had about him, honestly.
I'm a Haaland. We'll park that for a minute. I get where you're coming from, Kaz, when you say that it's maybe a little bit too early to write them off. And I think writing them off, you're right, it is maybe a little premature. But I think we can still when we talk about their issues, we are sort of almost nitpicking. And we're nitpicking because the difference making between one of these three teams winning the league is minute. I don't see one of them winning it by more than 3 or 4 points this year. So I'm looking at City, and the one thing I haven't seen with this much regularity is teams have opportunities. Man United only had 2 shots, but we had 10 counters. If Scott McTominay and Garnacho's through balls were better, we would have created 4 or 5 more goal scoring opportunities. Rashford missed a shot from 6 yards out. Rashford's header that went down, and we're awful. And I just look at it and think to people keep saying that the next 3 or 4 games for Arsenal City are hard, but then after that, they're a shoo-in. This is a team that were 2-0 up against Palace at home and drew. This is a team that were clear of Spurs at home and threw it away in the dying moments. This is a team that's drawn with Chelsea. No disrespect, Jeremy. They're an 11th place team this year, and they've dropped points against them. They were 1-0 up yesterday against a very good Liverpool team who were depleted. 6 or 7 first-team starters out of their team, and they couldn't capitalize upon them. I don't think it's disrespectful to say that there is definitely the door's ajar. It's just whether or not Liverpool or Arsenal can smash it open in that regard, and that element is still on them. But I do believe if Arsenal win this weekend, the next round of games in 2 weeks, if Arsenal beat them at the Etihad, City won't win the league from that point, in my opinion, because Arsenal and Liverpool are too good. And they'll be, 4 or 5 points behind by then, which is really 6 points because the goal difference will be where it is. And with by then 9 games remaining, I don't see them having a 5 to 6 to 7 point swing with 2 teams. That for me will just be too much, too little, too late. So it's going to be an amazing game now against Arsenal because they have to open up an attack. They have to be aggressive because it is must win for City. And I love that dynamic in terms of watching it with no real dog in. Well, I've got a dog in the fight. I am now on loan at Arsenal for the rest of the season. I've got to be any little bit of support I can put out there to stop this 4-peat. I've got to do it because this 4-peat will haunt me for the rest of my life. Igal and Rory being shameless on Twitter, thinking about Rory singing songs in the shower. I can handle that. I can handle all of that. I can't handle a 4-peat. Do you know why? Because in 100 years, in 200 years, that will still be remembered 110%. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it now. But your point on, I want to press the gem on Haaland. Do you think he's maybe I'm wording this in the wrong way? Is he a little bit of a flat track bully?
What we doing here? It's hard. Look what he did last season, man. Come on. Let's not ignore that. I think one of the big things that I'd say why Haaland isn't playing as well this season for me specifically is that I think offensively, I don't think they've been as creative. And I think why he's trying to force KDB back into the team is because of a lot of what's been good about Man City has always come through KDB to Haaland, in my opinion. I know Foden's had a very good season, and I think arguably he's been better than KDB this season based on injuries and whatever else. But I think, he's for me, Haaland's the type of player you just got to keep creating for, and that's the issue for me. I don't think he is created for enough, in my opinion, and from what I've seen in the last sort of handful of games, he's not been effective, getting his body in front of balls, holding balls up, getting in behind, and etc. But in terms of Haaland at his best, it's Haaland in the box, and that also means that that Man City have to be dominating games and find themselves further up the pitch. They struggled yesterday because they lost the battle in the midfield to Liverpool, who in my opinion, I've said for a long time now, are going to win the league this season. By the way, the difference with Liverpool for me is that they're winning games. They're winning games in the last minutes, and they're finding a way. And I think they will continue to do that, even with the injuries that they had. I just think with Man City to the Man City that we saw last season to the one that we saw this season, the difference more being also is that the form, Man City's form hasn't been the same, and they aren't building up a run which we're used to seeing and have been seeing in the past of them. And yeah, equally that's down to maybe the midfield. Equally that's down to what I think is the offensive element as well, in my opinion, because I don't think I haven't been creating as much, in my opinion. But I don't know. It's one of them ones because they can just flick the switch, can't they? Very easily, Man City, and then they're going again. Do you know what I mean? And it's like we're not seeing it. There's 10 games left, and this is the period now where push comes to shove, and we really need to see who's going to step up.
I think the thing for me is that when it comes to Haaland, like saying that he needs to be created for, I agree, he does need to be created for. And I wonder if in like the big games against the best teams, if that's enough. Like, can you afford to have a player who's effectively absent all game unless you create for him? And then you look at even Kai Havertz at the moment for Arsenal or Nunez at Liverpool. All of these attackers are getting involved in the link-up play and the build-up play, and then they might not even be the ones that are scoring, but they're involved in the creation of goals. And I do wonder if when you're coming up against a Saliba or a Van Dijk or whoever, like it's not enough to just wait for that opportunity. And then if you do get that opportunity, you have to score it. So like that one-on-one against Van Dijk, he's got to go and score that if that's the only thing he can do in a game. So it's I wouldn't say he's a flat-track bully, but there are elements that are weak for him.
Do you know? Like, I just read quickly. You said about the form. They've drawn like 2 games and like 3 games in like 20 since the Aston Villa loss. Like in like
3 months.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's had a howler there a bit, James, isn't it?
When we're talking about form, I asked this question to Man City fans. I think it was yesterday. Look, I asked this question. I said the Man City team of last year versus the Man City team this year with the same bench, where let's say you have to stop players, who do you think would win? Like, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about like if KDB is not performing and you have to bring in a sub as well.
Yeah,
you're not bringing in someone that is on par with KDB or even better than KDB right now. If you look at their bench, losing Gundogan and Mahrez is a big loss. So when we're talking about them not being in form, it's not just the wins and the draws and the losses. It's the fact that they're not the Man City that have that cutting edge that everybody's afraid of. Like nobody's afraid of them anymore, but people can score against them. And if you can score against Man City and hold your own, you literally might be able to get that draw. Those draws that you're talking, and those draws matter. That's 2 points.
No one's afraid of Man City.
Nobody's. No. Listen. Hear what I'm saying. Listen. Hear what I'm saying. No. Patrick. Let me ask you a question. As a Tottenham fan, right? If Man City open up, do you think your current team under Big Ange cannot cut through their defense right now? As against last season. No, hold on. As against last season. Do you think right now, I'm talking about current form. When I say people are not afraid, I'm talking about current form. As a club, as a team, Man City are a juggernaut. Of course, you should go there with caution.
Their current form is good, though. I know they didn't play well yesterday, but let's take that game into isolation. Other than yesterday, they've been excellent. And yeah, they've been struggling.
They've been struggling
against
excellent for a while.
They smashed
They've not been good.
They have been good.
What they were last season.
You have to take into account all of their fixtures and all their results. And as a whole, if they're winning all their games, other than they're good, and they're winning in Europe comfortably, they're winning games in the league, no team is going to be excellent for the duration of a season. We know how it goes. But of course, KDB isn't at his best. Haaland has missed the most big chances in the league. But ultimately, when push comes to shove, these guys get the job done. And in terms of your question, Dio, it's a bit of a hard one for Tottenham fans to answer because typically we always do well against Man City. It's a really odd one. And even when they're at their best, we cut them open and usually
That's
win the game.
I'm saying. That's what I'm
But-
saying. Like, so
but
now
I would-
think about it
yeah.
now. Like, even now, you'd feel a lot more, way more confident. Like, here's what I'm saying. As an Arsenal fan, if you told me to go play Man City 2 seasons ago, I'm shaking in my boots. I'll come out with chest and say what I want to say, but when I'm watching the game, dude, my knees are knocking. I'm waiting for 4-0, 5-0. Like, I'm waiting for them to just massacre us. Last season, the way we were playing at the beginning of the season, I was like, you know what, maybe we might be able to get something, but I was still very scared. This season, I'm going in with like the confidence I have, knowing that if you score, we'll score. If you score, we'll score. If you score, we'll score. Until the 90 minutes is up.
Yeah.
Until then, like I'm no longer feeling like, oh, an underdog. I'm feeling like, look, I'll go toe to toe with you because I see you have weaknesses. If I press your players hard enough and you need to make a sub, if you take KDB out, whoever you're bringing in is not better than KDB like last season. You know what I'm saying? Like last season, you bring in a Gundogan and take out this person, bring in a Mahrez. I'm still shaking. This season, who do you want to bring
even
in?
then, though, Dai, I feel like you're over hype because Gundogan and Mahrez, even last season, they were in the tail end of their careers. A lot of people, yes, they was impressed, but the level they came on at was not the level you're thinking of 3-4 years ago. The fact that they have Nunez, Kovacic to come on, they have the same quality. It's just not being applied in the same way.
They don't have the same quality as Gundogan and Mahrez.
Gundogan and Mahrez were both having like not bad seasons, but they were dropped a level. They both dropped a level last year. They was not playing at the level that they were.
But Gundogan is still better. But Gundogan is still exponentially at his worst at City. Is still better than the best version we've ever seen of Kovacic ever.
Yeah.
It was their output as well. Like their output was almost guaranteed every game. It is, and this is the thing. I think we're confusing like results and performances. Like no one's denying City's results since they lost to Villa have been brilliant. But it's their performances which haven't. And I remember LB was on here after they beat Luton like 6-2 in the FA Cup. And he said, I hope this is like the kickstart of us playing well. Like even City fans were acknowledging they've not been playing well. They've been getting the results, but like 1-0 against Bournemouth, they've been conceding lots of goals that they wouldn't normally concede. And so when they come up against the better teams, they're not guaranteed to score and they're still leaky at the back. So I think that's where people are kind of saying, you know, City just aren't as good because the performances haven't been there as much as the results. Like they had a very good run of fixtures between Villa and the set of games that they've got now. Yeah, they beat United, but yeah, I think their performances are off it, and maybe they will recover. But to say this is City, that like they'll come back from the break and they'll hit the ground running, like they hit the ground running in January last season, not late March, and I think that's a big difference.
City from last season would have destroyed this Liverpool team B that played them last season. City, if they played this Liverpool this game they played at the weekend, Liverpool would have been down 3-4-0, literally, because Liverpool had a depleted team. If they play this exact team, so this is why I'm saying like that's where I'm not criticizing City and saying City is bad now. They're a terrible team. They're going down. No, City is still City, man. You can't mess with them. Like they will still get results even when they're playing badly. Pep does that. But the point is they're not the City that they were last season. And I think a lot of top teams are now like, you know what, we can try. Even in the Champions League, like they're playing well, they're scoring, like, but you look at it and they're like, we can try. People are not going there sitting back. Nobody's going there sitting back.
Can I ask a question of George and a little bit of Patty? Is this a little bit of copium? Because you're worried that if this City team doesn't improve, maybe your biggest rivals, Arsenal, who are currently top, may go on to win the league. Is this just you hoping City are not? Is that what a little bit of this is?
No,
just out of interest.
And I've seen the comments, and I think sometimes you Arsenal fans are so sensitive. Like anytime someone says something that may be a little bit against for other team, and essentially is viewed as negative Arsenal, then you guys basically get in your feelings. And for me, no, it's nothing to do with that. It's just like for Arsenal fans or even fans as a whole to say that this City team is not as dangerous, and I think it's just a bit of naivety coming through. And there's still a lot of games left, and we know that City, even City haven't been at their best and all of that, but Arsenal are only top on goal difference. Like it's still so tight, and Haaland will obviously get better. He hasn't been great. KDB will definitely get better. It's not about copium. I still think Liverpool are better than Arsenal, and I still think City are better than Arsenal. And I think it would be one of those two that win the league. Arsenal probably finish third. You don't need copium. Like the football speaks for itself. And I think Arsenal fans should be obviously confident, and they should enjoy this moment. But just don't get too big for your boots. There's still a lot of football left to play.
Oh no, you said
when you say the football speaks for itself.
Wait. I saw the Arsenal fans are going to get pressed.
Hold on. No, it's not about press.
You lot are so
It's not about press. It's not about press or sensitive. Here's the thing. Terry asked you a question about hopium, and you turned around and said Arsenal fans are sensitive, but that's not what it's about. We're talking about current form. Let's look at the data. Let's look at the data.
Current form.
Hold on. Let's look at let's look.
Very good. Like,
let's look at the data. In the last 8 games, Arsenal shots on target against Arsenal, shots on target against City. In the last 8 games, goals conceded against Arsenal, goals conceded against City. Hold on. Here's what I'm talking about. Let me finish. Please let me finish. All I'm saying is it's okay to say my gas tank is at half, right? I'm still the best car in the race, but I need to top it up. It's okay to say that about City. The fact that we're saying that City is not as cutting edge as we know them to be, and people are now like, oh, this is our chance to actually go at them. It's not that we're talking down on City.
How many points are you above them? How many points are you above City?
Listen.
How many? No, just answer the question. How many points are you above City?
We're 1 point. We're 1 point. We're 1 point above City.
There you go. That's it.
No.
Patrick. Can I just jump in here? Because what you've done and what you were doing before, and I was going to get onto this before you even asked the question about Tottenham, is you saw one game where City they were pretty bad, but you're beating them with that stick and not act. You gave no. Wait. Let me finish now, please. You've done all that, and yes, it's not based off one game, but that one game has made a lot of your thoughts is confirmed.
I said from January. I didn't say one game. I said from January.
You didn't give Liverpool no praise.
No, listen.
Again, let me finish, bro. Let me finish. You didn't give Liverpool no praise as to how bad they made them look. Liverpool made them look like that. Doesn't mean other teams are going to be able to do this to City. Yes, City have had a couple bad performances in between that time, but since January they've got it over the line. They've managed to beat teams and
let us stay in the pocket of the question. Terry's question was about City,
and it was to me. His question was to me, and that's why I'm getting around to
it. Was about City and not about the game between Liverpool and City. It was about how is City performing, and I'm talking about that. So we're talking about City's performance.
Yeah, I would say I want to jump in on that. I get. Listen, they've won a lot of games. They've won a lot of games since that Aston Villa defeat at the beginning of December. But when you actually go back and I don't know how many of those games you've watched, George. I watched all the games, all the top 6 playing. Yeah, Liverpool were a big reason yesterday as to why City were poor. But the way Liverpool were generating attacks is the same way Bournemouth created multiple counter-attacks against them. Brentford, multiple counter-attacks. Chelsea, multiple counter-attacks. They struggled in the previous game against Everton for large periods of the game. We were not a very good team. They struggled away at Newcastle. They got over the line, which is because they're one of the greatest teams this country's ever seen. They're one of the best teams in the world, but they were poor in large parts of that game. You go back to the match after that, they beat Sheffield United that everyone's been pumping. They scraped 2 goals past them. You can keep going back further and further. The Luton game where they just, they only beat them 2-1, and they were struggling for large parts of that game. No one's saying City are bad, but I think if you're a Liverpool fan, I think if you're an Arsenal fan, you're looking at this current City team, the doors are jarring. This is your opportunity to burst through. No one's saying they're poor. And I do believe that other teams will look at them and say, look, they're going to have more of the ball. They're going to have chances. But everybody, even Copenhagen that they battered on the scoreline, the amount of chances home and away they had on the counter-attack against them, that is unprecedented against a Pep team. Pep's teams have not been cut apart like that very often in the Premier League, and it's been happening for months. So I look at it when Spurs play them, which isn't too far away, I think you'll beat them. And that isn't, I think you're a good team. The way Big Ange sets up, you are going to get at least 10 to 15 counter-attack opportunities against them. And I just think no one's saying they can't win the league. No one's saying it's impossible. But this idea that we're watching this City team this season and we're saying they're as good as the last 2 to 3 to 4 years, I think it's a disingenuous statement. They're not as good. They're not as good.
Oh, who has said that though, Terry? Because I haven't. And
I know,
no one.
I know, but that's what
you haven't said those words. But your point feels like it's alluding that way, where it's almost like, we can't write City off though because they always come good. When, like, watching how they're playing.
I didn't actually get around to answering your question with regards to Tottenham and hopium. I don't have no hopium because Tottenham get to play all these teams. How the title race will pan out, Tottenham have a very big part to play in that. If we beat Arsenal, if we beat City, if we beat Liverpool, we can well and truly decide which team wins that. So I'd have no hopium in Arsenal not winning the league. I simply know that when they come to the lane and their biggest game of the season, we're going to shut up shop and we're going to show them that no title. There is no title going to North London. That's as simple as it is. I don't need no copium. I know that it's in our hands. I know that it's in our hands and we have control. So that's all I need to look at.
You think Spurs will stop? I mean, you think Spurs are going to stop Arsenal?
Yeah, Spurs are beating Arsenal.
Man United.
We're not winning. I can guarantee you now Arsenal will not getting no point.
You know what it is. You know what it is. This is what you call projection. When you said, "Oh, Arsenal fans are very sensitive," right? This is what you call projection. When you see Tottenham fans literally sit down there and say they are going to decide who wins the league because they're going to no.
I said we have a big part to play.
No, hold on. When you're still struggling to make to hold your own against your third, your fourth, your fourth, your fifth position to hold your Champions League spot, you're sitting down here saying you are going to decide when there's 3 teams above you who will literally have 1 point between them and are looking
none of
this
those
good.
teams are beat. Wait. None of those teams
are looking this good.
You need to behave.
None of those teams are beat.
We beat you. Hold on. We beat you at your patch last season. We're beating you at your patch this season.
You beat us. Okay,
we beat you there last season.
How many times have you beat us at our
stadium? Listen, we've broken the jinx. We've broken the jinx. We beat you there last season. We're going to beat you there again this season.
Like, this is nonsense. Like,
let me ask you a question, Patty. Can I ask you a question? Patty, can I ask you a question? You said a few minutes ago, Arsenal, they may be top, but they need to remember who they are and not to get ahead of themselves. You're currently 5th, but you're saying there's 0 chance that Arsenal come and get points off you at your stadium. Why do Arsenal fans have to calm down being top, but you can be that confident sitting 5th?
I didn't say there's 0 chance. Of course they could beat us, but realistically, I don't see them beating us. Like, we typically, other than last season, we always beat them at our stadium. I feel that we're now coming into form. You can see that we're playing a better brand of football. If we go off the last game, you can see you starting to control. I mean, what we did to Aston Villa away from home was pretty impressive. They're a very good team. And we dominated and controlled that game from the first minute through to the 90th.
You can say that too.
Beat them out of the park like that.
Patrick, are you confident? Are you confident to put a wager on it that you're going to beat Arsenal at your patch? Are you confident?
Yeah, I'm confident.
Okay, good. So let's put a wager on it in front of everybody. If you beat Arsenal, I'll put on the Tottenham jersey. No.
Dave, start that again, please.
Let's put a wager on it, right? If you beat Arsenal at Tottenham, I will put on a Tottenham jersey and I will sit here and raise my hand and say, you know what? Tottenham, you did what you needed to do. If we beat you at your patch, you're putting on an Arsenal jersey and saying the same thing.
Cool.
If you're that confident.
I'm confident. Let's do it.
So let's put the wager on. It's on.
Yeah, let's shake on it. Spud, whatever you want to do. Cool. Terry, timestamp this. 42:55.
JJ, I know you're on your honeymoon, but clip it up, bruv. Clip it up, bruv. It's funny. Look, Arsenal had another very, very interesting weekend. And it's funny, actually, I've been sent this video in a group chat. Someone's like, you've got to play this video about Arsenal because I do find it intriguing. I've seen a lot of stuff online today. It's their title to throw away. They're top now. It's on them. They can bottle it again from this point. When only a few weeks ago, those same people were saying this.
Times to now realise that what Arsenal done last year was a flash in the pan. It was literally just because Liverpool weren't any good last year.
No, Tom, we're not allowed to say that. We're not allowed to say that.
He's only 20, guys.
No, Tom, we're not allowed to say that. Remember last season when we said it was a flash in the pan and we got absolutely cooked for it. We're not allowed to say it was a flash in the pan. Arsenal are an amazing team. They got...
So there's only a few... Now the same very people are saying, and many others online, that Arsenal are now top. It's in their hands. It's for them to lose, etc. So I don't want to go to the Arsenal fans first. I want to throw out to the rivals. Are Arsenal the favourites at this point because they are top? And if so, does that make them the best team in the country right now?
No, Liverpool are favourites because they've got the easiest run.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And the thing, he's got to play Man City, Arsenal as well. So, and they got to play Tottenham. I know Liverpool got to play Tottenham, but that's at Anfield. I don't really care about that. They got a lot of Anfield games, so I think Liverpool are favourites. But the thing is, they don't. I feel like I've been quite positive on Liverpool, Terry, right? And I'm quite impressed with them. I can't lie. I sit here as a rival, but you have to just. I'm Man United are crap anyway, so scrap that. Be positive. But at the same time, it's like they want to deflect the pressure of being the title favourites away. Sometimes that's what I feel amongst when
I feel like I've noticed this about Liverpool, Arsenal, City, all of them. Like I've noticed a lot of them.
No, but the thing is, the difference is Arsenal fans will go and get carried away, which is totally fine. That's what we know them to do. That's how they've always been. Liverpool deflect away for the pressure, and they want to say we spent this much amount of money and this, that, and the other. No way, look at our injuries. And then Man City's like, yeah, we're shocked. We bring it on, kind of type beat. So it's like that's the way. That's the way it typically is, anyways. Not every fan's like that. Let me just state that not every fan is like that. I'm just sort of talking about the ones that I've spoken to, and obviously the ones I've seen online. That's it.
I think what the big difference is. What I think the big difference from last season Arsenal to this season Arsenal is the run where they are now. When you look at them last season, they were ahead. There was a lot of pressure on them because they were 8 points ahead, and this just admitted they bottled it. They fumbled. They couldn't find their form. I think the difference to what's worked better for them this season, not only because I feel we've improved their team in certain areas, that they've always just sort of been chasing. I'm not saying that it's like took the pressure off them because they're up there and it's been about the top three, any of three can do it, this, that, and the other. But I always feel like when I've been watching Arsenal this season that they've always been better when they've not actually led. So now they're actually leading. Does the pressure now start kicking in? Because for me, it's clutch time. Clutch time now. It's 10 games left. I honestly think, and I've said this in the group chats before as well, if they lose to Porto midweek, they're going to lose to Man City. Because for me, the biggest problem with Arsenal, the biggest issue for Arsenal for me is mentality, the mentality block. And it's whether they're going to get over that mentality block right now. And the Champions League game, we know the situation with Europe. That's going to be, look, I still think they will win against Porto. But at the end of the day, if they don't, then they go into that game against Man City out of the Champions League. I do think that it's going to affect them one way or the other, and the pressure is going to build. And I think they will fumble. That's my opinion.
I think the way you got to look at it is that there are favourites. Literally, yeah, Liverpool are the favourites, but also you can look at it and say Arsenal are top of the league, so it is theirs to lose. Like you said, they've got the game against City coming up next. They've got literally a game where they can spread the gap between them and City and sort of give themselves some leeway to drop points potentially in their run in at another game. And it will just leave themselves to like heading up the title race with themselves and Liverpool. So it's theirs to lose, but also they're not the favourites because, like people have said, Liverpool's got a better run in. They've also got to play Chelsea. They've got to play United. They've got to play Tottenham. So they've got 3 of the top 6 still to play, as well as some other difficult games. So if you can look at their fixtures and say there's a few games in which they can still drop points. So for Arsenal, it's a techie one.
Can I throw this question out there because I'd love to get an answer on this. Arsenal's goal scoring has been immense recently up until this last game. The volume of chances that they concede is exponentially lower than the other 2 title contenders. You're talking up until the last game where I think they conceded 3 shots on target. In their previous 8 games, they'd conceded 7 shots on target in that entire game. Does that not give Arsenal an edge because they're scoring more than anybody else and conceding less chances than everybody else, irrespective of who they play? Because when you look at performance, which we all know is where the sustainability comes from, Arsenal's performances are better than both the other 2. Is that not something that should be considered when looking at title favourites?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think Arsenal have been the best team in the league so far this season. Like, if we're just being honest, in terms of what you said, Terry, in terms of attacking output, defensively, controlling games. But I think as well, people are forgetting the reason why Liverpool and City have probably got the edges because they've been there, done that with most of these players. And obviously the managers that they've got, Arteta hasn't won a major trophy, as in major honours, not, a charity shield or an inherited FA Cup. He's not won the big stuff yet. And the manager and their players have done that numerous times. So, yeah, that's why I would say that Liverpool and City have the edge over Arsenal. Arsenal have been brilliant. They obviously, they are where they deserve to be. But again, when Arsenal fans are acting like they're 5 or 6 points clear, they're literally ahead on goal difference. And that's what, and City, who everyone is downplaying, are 1 point behind them. Like, I just think it's mad.
So can I say this, right, Patrick? Do you realize that in the modern history of the Premiership, this is the second time that there's been a 3-horse race since the 60s. This is the second time. Hold on.
What's that got to do with?
So understand that whenever it's a 3-horse race, it's always a different ball game. If it's a 2-horse race, it's a 2-horse race. It's between this team or that team. This is the second time in the history. If you've been following the Premiership from as far back as I have, right? So here's what I'm trying to explain to you. When you talk about things like, oh yeah, well, they are where they are, this is not the same Arsenal of last season. We talk about mentality. you think that they would not grow in a year? Your team changed in a year because of Ange Postecoglou. Based on who you were last year, we could have simply said, let's hold your narrative. Tottenham were crap last season. They're going to be crap this season, even if they get a new coach. But no, but it changed. Hold on, but it changed. And you got your accolades. Everybody's saying Tottenham is playing better football. Tottenham is doing great. We're seeing the improvements. We're seeing how they're playing. They're opening teams up. They're playing their game. Arsenal's improvement has come, and you are still looking at them through the PTSD eyeglasses that you want to use from last season or the season before. That's exactly what most people are doing. You're still consistently looking at Arsenal as a team.
What do you mean PTSD? No, sorry, this is the same team that we're analysing the performances.
Hold on.
Let him land, George. Let him.
Hold on, let me land.
So
If Terry did not say what he said right now, based on all the stats in the top 5 leagues right now in the season, it's top 5 across Europe. Inter has the most goals. It's Arsenal and Bayern second. And yet, as of December, I think Inter is 73. But we've scored about 70 goals, give or take. Inter, Arsenal, Bayern and Arsenal have probably the same amount of goals. As of December, if Arsenal don't buy a striker, they're not going to win the league. They're not even going to be in the top. Okay, there's no striker. We scored what? The most goals and conceded the least so far. So what are we talking about here? If you're going to look at consistency, and they're doing it week in, week out. In some games, it's difficult. They're finding a way to win. In some games, it's easy. They're winning in the first half and scoring 3-4 goals. And you're going to sit down there and say, oh, yeah, well, because they bottled it last season, they're going to... Well, because Tottenham played badly last season, the last 10 games, they're going to play badly. You're going to drop out of top 5.
But the difference here is
can we have the same...
Dio, the problem is that you're trying to measure the one thing that we're saying Arsenal, you can't measure. It's the mentality. Like Jem said, Arsenal just don't... You can't measure mentality. There's no way, there's no stat.
But you've been seeing it.
No. Where you can analyze...
You can
analyze the seasons prior with the same players and see how they've capitulated. Around the same time of the
different
season,
players.
Every single time. A lot of the core group is the same group of players, the likes of Saka, Martinelli. You've had different players replace some players in some positions, but the core group has remained the same with still those players on the bench and so on. The fact is that us rival fans, us Jem, Patrick, Cass, and some other, like a lot of us question Arsenal's mentality. And that's why when we get into the running, when you had the top 4 challenge against Tottenham and we were both battling for top 4, what happened? You crumbled in April, May.
Oh, no. It's fair. That's exactly what I said. It's fair.
Last season, the same time you crumbled was the end of March, going into April. You literally crumbled your season in April.
It's fair.
Forgive us for as fans taking 2.
Oh, no. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying
as the measuring stick and going, April's where Arsenal have had the most problems. We need to see you turn it up in April for us to be convinced that this is a title challenging team.
So you guys,
until you get through April and you have a strong April run, you're never going to convince
you guys. Kick the can down the road so much. Hold on. No, stop. I'm not going to let you do this. You kick the can down the road at the beginning of the season. You started.
Bro, let me finish, bro. The whole point here is that until you guys do it, no one's going to believe you. No one's going to believe that Arsenal can go there and win the league, or no one's going to trust that it's going to happen because you haven't got through April yet. A strong April.
I believe. Can I go to Rory on this, please, next? I want to hear Rory's take on this. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, I mean, look, so Patrick's confusing me because 10 minutes ago he said Arsenal are going to finish 3rd, let the football speaks for itself, and then he said Arsenal have played the best football all season. So I don't understand how the football can speak for itself and we'll finish 3rd when he acknowledged we've been the best all season. So then it became the mentality thing, right? The issue with the mentality thing is, first of all, the Liverpool squad, I mean, the team that played against City, how many of that starting lineup against City actually won the Premier League? Maybe 2?
We're talking about Liverpool. When we mentioned that mentality, though.
You said Liverpool have the mentality. You said they've been there, done it. They've got the mentality because that core group.
That was what other
maybe one or two of them have won the Premier League with Liverpool, right? And when they won the Premier League,
Gomez as well. Plus the man. Don't forget the manager. Gomez, the main important component.
Okay, Gomez wasn't really a huge factor in.
No, he was. Rory, he was.
Okay, so two.
Just let Rory make his point. Just otherwise we never get to challenge it after he makes it. Thank you.
So 3 of them were in the squad that won the league. And when they won the league, there wasn't actually a title race. So in terms of can they handle the pressure of a title race that goes into April, May, they'd already wrapped up the season that season. So this idea that Liverpool definitely have the mentality to do it because they've been there, done it. It's just factually not true. City players, yes, they do. But before Liverpool won the title, the season before that, they competed for the title and they lost out. So did you then say, well, they're not going to win the season next season because they don't have the mentality? No,
you don't answer the question about Arsenal,
they
that's what I don't get.
and developed. No, because what I'm saying is they grew and they developed. Liverpool grew, developed, played the better football, won the league. So this idea that Arsenal players can't grow and develop despite the age of the squad, and like you said, we missed out on the top 4 battle. And then the following season, we comfortably cruised to top 4 and had a title race. But again, there's this idea that they can't grow.
Rory, I'm sorry.
Ram, let George respond because it was to his point.
He's addressed literally nothing that I said, because I said that we wouldn't believe it until we see it. And your literally rebuttal is, oh, Liverpool done it last year. Well, no,
that wasn't his rebuttal. His rebuttal is we did bottle top 4. But the following year, we were in a title race and easily made top 4. So you've seen mental growth. But you did mention, you said that you bottled top 4.
They failed to reach
the objective. Okay. But the following year, the objective wasn't winning the league. It was making top 4. So the year they bottled the top 4, the following year, they were better. All Rory has said, and I think it's a really good question, he's used Liverpool as an example. Liverpool have never won a title race in the Premier League. The only time they've won the Premier League is when they smashed it and they were amazing. Every other title race they've been in, whether it was by a point or whether it was by a country mile, in the end, they've never won it. So saying they have the mentality in a title race, when it's a 3, there's no proof of that factually either.
This team's won multiple trophies.
And then the third point, and then the third point that he made is when Liverpool missed out in the title race, nobody said the following year they couldn't go on to win it. Why is it different when Arsenal failed to win it? Why is it different that the following year they can't improve and get over the line compared to Liverpool? Ram, why would you say it's different?
2 letters, CL. We won the Champions League. I'm going to quote what you said, Terry, back in 2019. When we won the Champions League, you said either Tottenham or Liverpool, whoever wins the Champions League is going to go up another level. And that's what happened. Look at what Arsenal did last season. They didn't win anything. They didn't. And you can't tell me
again. But
you can't compare 2 situations.
But you're hang on. I can. I agree what I said back in 2019, and I did say that. But at the same time, if you're going to go by what I've said, I said when Arsenal lost out last year that they're going to learn from this and grow the same way that Man United did in the 80s and in the 80s, narrowly missing out sometimes teaches you to be better a year later. So if we're going to go if you're basing it on what I said, Ram, I've also said that before as well.
No, but
and both of those things are right because the scenarios are different. I'm just asking why, and this is the question, why can't Arsenal's mentality get better 3 years running, but other clubs can?
Because Liverpool have got to wait. No, the point is that it can't get better. If you actually listen to what I said I won't believe it till I see it. I never said it's impossible that they won't get better. I said I won't believe it until it happens.
How many Premiership does Liverpool have? How many EPLs does Liverpool have? How many EPLs?
What's that got to do with anything?
No. It has a lot to do with something.
No,
because
tell me.
No, because you keep saying you have. Hold on. Pause. But just talk. Listen. We're talking about the league right now. Let's stay in the pocket of what we're discussing.
The league doesn't matter. The point is the team has got it over the line.
George, listen, hear me out. I asked a question. You say they have the mentality to win, right? I said, how many EPLs do they have? If you say City, who has had 5 in the last 6, that means every single time in the last 6 years that Liverpool has come second twice, third once, fourth twice, they bottled it against City. That's what you're saying. But you got better at one point and you won the league. So why is it that Arsenal, when we were going for top 4 and Tottenham clinched it over us at the end of the season, and the following season, our goal was top 4 and we came second? Is that not an improvement? Hold on. Nope. In fact, at the beginning, hey, stop it. See, don't project your agenda. Because this is what you guys do.
Agenda. It's the
at the beginning of last season, what you said was Arsenal would not make top 6. You want me to pull out your clip?
And guess what?
I will pull out your clip.
It changes in the season.
At
the beginning of this season, people said
don't do that. I'm not that guy. I have visual evidence. At the beginning of the season, you said most people said Arsenal would not make top 6. That was what they said. And when Arsenal began to challenge, I'm saying last season. Hear me out. 2 seasons ago, we bottled it against Tottenham.
You're just saying random stuff.
Last season, stop.
The thing with this is for me is that it's happened 7 times before in the Premier League, and some people sitting here, their teams have done it. When Man United won it in 1993, it was on the backdrop of everybody saying they're never going to win one because they don't have the staying power. When Arsenal won it in 1998, it was on the backdrop of everybody saying they were never going to be able to do it again. When Chelsea did it in 04-05, it was on the backdrop of narrowly missing out to the invincible Arsenal. Yes, they got Roman's money, but there was this narrative that they're Chelsea. They spend a lot, they always did through the 90s, but they never get over the line. Then you had Manchester City that did it in the 2012 season, after huffing and puffing and never quite getting over the line. Then you probably have the most famous, I forgot as well, by the way, Blackburn, who did it after not winning one for 30 odd years. Then you've got the most famous example in 2016 of everybody all season saying, nah, Leicester, there's no way they're going to have the staying power. And then they did. And to a degree, Liverpool were written off every single year by rivals when it came to title races. And I remember getting laughed at when I said I thought you'd win the league in 2019 because I saw a team that was getting better. Part of it was to do with winning the Champions League and what winning mentality brings to you. But it was also watching the football. It was also watching the way Liverpool changed when Van Dijk came in and suddenly they were controlling games better and conceding less chances and opportunities. I think what we're doing here, I understand where George is coming from. Until I see it from Arsenal, I'm not going to believe it. But in actuality, it's happened 7 times before in Premier League history where a team that hasn't won it before or hasn't won it for a long time has overcome the odds of being serial bottlers to win it. This idea that it's laughable or until I see it, I can't even imagine it plausible when it comes to Arsenal is, we know what it's shrouded in. It's shrouded, especially with you Spurs boys, and I get it with you two. It's the fear that they're going to do it. So it's going to be, no, I'm going to be an ostrich. I'm going to bury my head in the sand. Of course they can win it. They've been the best team in the Prem this year. They barely concede chances and opportunities. They've got, their mentality has got so much better over the last 2 years. Exponentially, it's crazy. It absolutely is. And there are holes and flaws. So, yeah, but they have done before. They absolutely have done before. But that doesn't mean it's going to keep happening, because if that was the case, Jem, you wouldn't have just had the best 20 years in your club's history.
Yeah, true, but
based on that based on that logic, I'll throw this to the Spurs fans. Based on the logic that Arsenal never get over the hurdle, you boys are never ever going to be excited ever again, are you?
You're never going to win a trophy. You're never going to win a trophy.
You're never going to get excited, boys, are you?
But you're saying this like the reason why you're seeing this with this hat and this vision is because you can't see Liverpool and City win it. That's why all of your eggs are in the Arsenal basket right now.
I can see it. George, to be fair, Liverpool are my favourites. Liverpool are my favourites. I'm attacking the logic. Your logic, George, of course I don't want my 2 biggest rivals to win it.
So you're seeing only the Arsenal.
No, I'm not. How can I see only Arsenal when my favourites are Liverpool?
You're supporting literally.
How can I see
everything I've heard come out your mouth alludes to Arsenal, the ones
because you're talking about Arsenal, and I am challenging the logic. I want to ask you the question. Please answer it for me. Based on your logic, you're never getting excited about Tottenham again because you never go over the line, do you?
No, because based on my logic, is rival fans won't believe it till they see it. That's exactly what I said.
Based on your logic, that you won't. So you're not going to get excited though, because you won't believe it until you see it, right? Because you've never, in your whole life, Spurs have never been successful. So how can you believe that?
I never said Arsenal fans can't be excited. I said rival fans will not believe it.
I'm asking you about your logic. Fuck other people.
That's the thing.
Your logic, George.
My logic was with regards to how other people think.
George, listen to understand what he's saying.
Forget other people, George. So you believe that Arsenal can do it before you see it then?
I wouldn't believe that Tottenham can do something before I see them do it. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, we've never done this before."
So that's fair. That's fair. You've never seen Tottenham win, so you're never going to believe you're ever going to win until Tottenham wins something. So that's good. I like the same energy. Keep the same energy. No. Keep the same energy. That's what I'm saying.
Guys, let me go to Jem for a minute. Go on, Jem. Sorry.
The question mark about the mentality from me specifically was just about the final hurdle. I'm not saying that they can't be excited about what they've done up to this point, and maybe think that they can win it. I think Arsenal fans should be confident about going to win a league. They're in a good position. Why not? But all I'm saying as a rival, and I'm sure Jules and other rivals are saying here, is that the final hurdle is a big thing. It's a big question. And it does involve around mentality.
It is.
It does.
It is.
Because
I
It is.
think
It
for
does, but that
Arsenal,
comes with
it's
experience,
the
that comes with
biggest
everything.
question. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's the biggest question is the final hurdle, the mentality. That's their
That's
biggest problem.
I agree, but like I said, that same mentality, we've seen it grow year in, year out in the last 2-3 years. And that's what I'm talking about. I gave the example where I said, and I'm not going to use any other team, I'm going to use my team, Arsenal. When Arsenal was going for top 4, Mikel Arteta came in, we saw the growth, 8, 5th position, and then second. Is that growth or is that not growth? First question. Second question, did the football improve? Yes or no? It improved. Did he change personnel, team-wise? Did he grow the team? Last year, they said it's a flash in the pan. Arsenal would not be competing for the title this year. They probably wouldn't even make top 4. That was the best chance they had in the history of the last 20 years to be able to win that EPL, and they bottled it. That's what pundits said. That's what fan channels said. That's what a bunch of people said. And now this year, we're still in the title race come March. And now they're kicking the can down the road and saying, well, until we see it in the end of April, like, come on. Come on.
You are right. You are right in what you're saying about Arsenal improving. We will all sit here and all give you praise for how you've been this season. If you want praise for your performance this season, we can give that.
I don't want praise for performance. What I'm saying,
well done. But you're saying, oh yeah, that we're waiting till then to give you the actual final praise of win. That you haven't done nothing yet.
That's true.
Your team has just been good. You've done nothing.
When
I hear you. We've done nothing yet. I agree. Mikel hasn't won anything. But I mean,
when you look at last season,
is handed to him.
What's his name? Sorry, I forgot. I don't know.
No, Dio.
Okay. Sorry, mate. Yeah. When you look at last season and you effectively bottling the league, what do you think it was down to yourself as an Arsenal fan?
No, it was mentality. I agreed with you. And I'm saying, but I've seen a different mentality in this Arsenal team this season. And I'll tell you when I've seen the mentality change. In games where we even lost. For example, when we lost to Liverpool in the FA Cup, we played better than them. We just didn't bury our chances. West Ham, Fulham is probably the only game, and maybe the West Ham game, where I can say we didn't show up for the game at all. In every game that we've played this season, even when we lost, you can see that the stats were on the Arsenal side. We just did not bury our chances. Against Porto, honestly, that game should have been a tie for me. But Porto, the Porto game in the UCL as an example, the Porto game we lost by 1-0. Porto for me I was like, that's it. Like that last goal, that last minute goal, it could have ended in a tie because we went there we literally did not show up as well for that game. But you've seen the same team play tough games and at the last minute nick it. You've seen the same team win and kill matches in the first half, in the first 25 minutes. You've seen the same team go toe to toe with Man City twice this season and beat them in the Community Shield and in the first leg of the league. So we've seen the same team take 4 points off Liverpool, who are the champion, who are top. You've seen the same team tie with Tottenham because Tottenham is playing the best football they've been playing this season. In a couple of years. So my thing is, if you're talking about mentality, games like that where we would have decapitulated and they would have beat us into pop, Liverpool games, Tottenham games, even against Chelsea, as bad as Chelsea was and as bad as we played, we came back and tied 2-2. I'm not happy about the ties, but I see that, look, there's a mentality like we will play till the last very minute till this game ends. The Arsenal of before, you score 1 or 2 goals, heads are down, everybody's gone. So I see the mentality change, and I believe, look, I said it boldly, we're going to go to Man City, we're going to get our points. We're going to go to Tottenham, Patrick, get ready to wear an Arsenal jersey, we're coming to get our points. If you guys play against team.
Yeah. So Ram, I'm going to come back to you in a minute because I want to go through some of these super chats. I also want to ask another question that is related to Arsenal. I don't want us to get too bogged down in that particular one. Viewers, there's a lot of super chats. We are going to come back to them very soon on the show. But I want to shout out, first of all, 7,500 people watching is ridiculous. So thank you very, very much indeed for all tuning in. I want to shout out our title sponsors, Match Bingo. Genuinely the best game to play during football matches. Get a bingo card now. There's a game tonight, Chelsea versus Newcastle. Get the app downloaded. Get yourself some bingo cards. There's free ones being given away as well. I was so close at the weekend to win the grand prize on the Man United game. I just needed basically Man United to score a header, but we only did penalties at the weekend. If we'd have scored a header, I'd have won about 350 quid, and it was a free card as well. So get it downloaded now. You've got to be over the age of 18 to do it. Scan a QR code above George's head or click on the link below. But I want to ask a question about a particular Arsenal player. Jem, I'm going to go to you first on this. Has Kai Havertz been a good signing for Arsenal?
How did I know you was going to do this to me? I just statistically, if you look at him where he is to this point compared to where he was last season, it's exactly the same. By the way, I think it's 8 goals last season, 8 goals this season, 3 assists. Is exactly the same. Is he more effective this season in how he's being played? Yes, I do think in earlier in the seasons he struggled. I think Arteta was maybe finding it hard to fit him in next to Odegaard. It didn't really work for me. And I don't think he's a 9, but the false 9 role, from what we're seeing at Arsenal, has worked. And he looks more confident in himself. And I've always said about people know with me when it comes to Kai Havertz and Chelsea, I'll say 90% of the Chelsea fan base did not like Kai Havertz, but I was one that always said that if you find him in the right team with a system, with a clear instruction, that you could actually see a good player. And I'm not saying he's massively improved since he left Chelsea. I think he's improved, and I think that's just down to the team that he's playing in. Like I said, system driven. They're all sticking to the roles and what they're doing. But equally, he does have some good attributes to his game. One of his biggest attributes, and I've always said it, even at Chelsea, is that he runs into space very well. He always knows where to run into space and open up the pitch, and that allows other players to get involved in the boxes and things like. He's always been good at that. I know his final third finishing in front of goals not the greatest. It's still the case, by the way. But what he's doing at the moment for Arsenal in leading the line and being effective. And he has been being effective in recent. I think he's been very good for him at the moment. So at the moment, the eye test says that he's playing better in the recent games. But if you look at the stats, most Chelsea fans will rebuttal it and argue and say, well, what's different? Because it's exactly the same as what it was last year. So it's a hard one.
It is. I want to try the Tottenham boys at Ram. I mean, no one is claiming that he's performing like Zinedine Zidane, and I don't think he's ever going to be that player. But the theory was at the beginning of the season that Arteta will be so stubborn that it will change the way they play. They will lose their ability to play free-flowing football, and he'll be a thorn in the side. And it looked that way for a little while. It didn't look good at the beginning, but it's clicked into gear now, and he looks every bit an Arsenal player. At £60 million to have delivered, I think it's 8 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, a goal in the Champions League. His goals have won them 9 points this year, which, and 2 of them were late goals as well. So far, has this been a good signing, in your opinion, for Arsenal?
It'd be harsh to say it's a bad signing. I'd say it'd be very harsh. He's not done bad at all. I feel like he probably started off a bit bad, which is fair enough. It takes time to sort of settle into a new team. I haven't watched Arsenal. I've watched Arsenal enough to see that he's been up and down at times this season. But with regards to analysing his full performances, I can't really give you an answer. Like I said, the output's been okay. But for me, it's just depending. Like, I can't see a future with him being a starter in Arsenal if they want to be a team that challenges for the title year in, year out. Because like Jem said, trying to find his position in the pitch is something that, many of us are still trying to figure out what is the best position. You can put him in the 9, you'll get some goals. There's no doubt about that. But is it enough goals? That's the thing you need to look at. And then when you put him in the midfield, he does a job in midfield sometimes, but then also he's not enough. He's legs in the midfield. That's pretty much all he is with regards to actually moving the ball around and being someone that can spray a pass out right, spray a pass out left. He's not going to be someone that you can rely upon consistently, because you're going to need someone like Jorginho or someone who's a bit more better with the ball at their feet. You're going to need that in the midfield. So with regards to where you play him, that's where I feel like the problem's going to be long term. But he's not been a bad signing for Arsenal. He's not having a bad season.
I agree. I think people saying it's he's been a bad signing is being overly critical and being very harsh on the guy. But I won't say he's a great signing. I won't say he's a great. I think he's been decent. I think the first 3 months, first 2.5 months was difficult for him, but now he's really come to the forefront and really doing his thing. But I think Jem would know best about him. He regularly does this. Even when he was at Leverkusen, he did this. Normally at the back end of the season, which will be a benefit for Arsenal if he does do this. he does turn up, and then in the
March
first half of the season, he does. You know what I mean?
March is his best season.
So like he
Yeah.
likes to do first half of the season not that great, then second half of the season he really comes forward and starts performing at the levels that people expect him to. So I think we still got to wait and see what happens, but I think he's been a decent signing. Obviously, he's really performed when it mattered in certain situations. So yeah, I'll say he's a good signing, decent signing.
What do you think?
People thought we're gonna hate.
No.
We're gonna hate.
I mean, I'm just reflecting. The thing George said, and I want to throw this out to Kaz and to Deo, that you don't really think that Kai Havertz has a future at Arsenal, and Ram kind of agreed with that in the starting 11. Do you guys see that as true? Do you think that this is just a bit of purple patch form, and over the next couple of windows he'll kind of be replaced, moved on?
I don't think so. I don't think that he's going to be replaced. The first question to answer is to say, has he made Arsenal any worse? He hasn't. I mean, let's take Granit Xhaka as an example. His last season in Arsenal was great. The season before that, he was about to leave Arsenal. We kicked him out as captain. Like, the fans didn't like him. Arteta kept him, and we're like, why are you keeping this guy? But he played his best season ever in Arsenal in 7 years in his last season. So there's something that I believe in, which is Arteta knows how to get something out of players. I saw you do it with Xhaka. I've seen you do it Odegaard, who Real Madrid literally almost ended his career. And I'm seeing you doing it now with Kai Havertz. Right? So I don't think that it's a purple patch. I think that, as a manager, every year you have to look at the football and see what's happening with other teams. How do I tweak and become the best team? And if that player doesn't suit you, then you move them on. If they suit what you're about to do, you keep them, you improve them, and you bring other players to support it, to play the best football you can play to win. And that's the way I see it.
So, before we go, George, I just want to say the reason why I say this is because I've seen this before. I've seen it on numerous occasions. Jem knows
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I still have to see a little bit more before I can say, yeah, it's consistently this guy living up to the hype that he was at.
Like I said,
you can't compare it. You can't compare it. Chelsea have been dog for a minute. Like, even their Tuchel team been dog.
But he still performed when they were dog.
So what? I guess what this guy's performing when it matters, because guess what? Chelsea weren't going for no title. Let's be real. They were just obviously merchants in cup competitions. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Arsenal going for the damn league. So if we're being real with it, if it shows up when it matters, which is in this period, which he's done last year, then we should not call that a bit of a stroke of a masterclass. Oh yeah, we're going to sign a player when it's between March and February / to May. So if that's the case, then so be it. The whole question though is he a starting 11 player? Yeah, he's good. He's going to be a good squad option, isn't it? But if you're going to tell me,
that's my point, though, Cass. Yeah, and I wanted to ask Dio.
Yeah,
as an Arsenal fan, go on. You said you think that he's going to improve and he's going to stay in his team. In what position is his long-term future in the Arsenal?
That's what I'm saying. That's for the gaffer to decide. Look, here's the thing about it. You have to realize. Hold on. Listen, my opinion from what I've seen so far, I'd say a false 9. But then if Arteta decides next season, I don't want to play a false 9, I want to play a top man, and I want to play play wings and then cut to my top man, and I don't need to Havertz anymore. You want to sell him. But you have to also vis-a-vis look at the teams we're going up against and what they have on the bench. So if he's going to be a good rotational squad player, I'd rather have a Havertz on my bench who can come in, like you said, and do the business on the second half of the season or second half of the game than have an Eddie right now. I'd rather have Eddie Nketiah out of my team.
I hear that.
So that's all I'm saying. So if we're talking about, I remember he's 24. We're not talking about a Kai Havertz. Yeah, so we're not talking about a Kai Havertz who's 29 or 30 or 30. He's 24. So over the next couple of years,
suggest that he can be a player that starts in your midfield.
I think
number 9 against top teams consistently.
You're trying to box him into a particular position. What if we're not even talking about position? Just a role. If Arteta wants to play, hold on, listen.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, that doesn't matter because
like I said,
when Pep does it,
he's doing the work
for you a little bit there. Because when Pep plays Foden in and out of positions and all this kind of stuff, we say what's Foden's best position, but guess what? He's got multiple league titles. When he plays Bernardo Silva, left or in the middle and all that kind of stuff, whatever, we don't complain about that. We call that a stroke of genius. Bro, Kai Havertz already said to flip Sky Sports, what's your best position? He said multiple times, he don't care where he plays. He just wants to win a damn league, bro.
Look, see, without knowing Kai Havertz's position, let me say this to you. Last season in Chelsea, he had 7 goals and 1 assist in 35 games. This season in Arsenal, at 27 games, he has 8 goals and 3 assists. That tells you the stats have gone up, even though we don't know what role he's playing. So in 35 and 20,
it's not.
listen,
that
listen, but you know what I'm saying? 27 games to 35 or 36 games, right? And you only did 7-1. And last in Chelsea, they knew your position. But then you played out the spiker. Hold on, in Arsenal,
that's impressive because that was a poor Chelsea team that didn't do anything.
Listen, you're gonna give an excuse for anything that I say. You asked me a question.
I've not said he's bad. I've not said he's bad. I'm giving the context.
The context, and I'm responding to
context. Is can Kai Havertz play for a full season consistently? That's the context.
For a full season,
he didn't start well for you guys. He didn't start. You were actually struggling to fit him in the team.
See, here's the thing: can Kai Havertz play consistently well for a full season? That is a question that nobody can answer. Has Haaland played consistently well the whole season? Has Darwin Núñez played consistently well the whole season? Has every player played consistently well the whole? No. I'm saying what I'm saying is you cannot say definitely that a player beginning of season to the end of season will play very well, depending on what happens to them. If they get injured, what happens? If you're not informed, if something happens to you, there are many other reasons why you might not play well. It's not just about being on the pitch. There might be something happening in your family at home. If you kid is sick, wife is sick, father gets kidnapped. Look at the player. Like anything can happen. So to say, can Kai Havertz play consistently very well from the beginning of season to the end of season is being disingenuous.
Not really, because we had the same thing at Chelsea. We asked the same thing.
But George just said
we saw at Chelsea.
I know. George just said it himself. It was a bad Chelsea team. He just said it himself. So if you saw it at Chelsea, maybe that's the reason. Maybe now that he's playing in a good team, maybe we'll see a difference going next season. Let's see.
That's a story for another day. Story for another day.
Do you know what I find interesting? But listen, I don't disagree with a lot of what's been said. It's just, and there's no one on this panel that this is aimed at. There's a lot of opinions at the start of the season that said that Kai Havertz would ruin Arsenal. There was also a lot of people that said that the style of football had died because of Kai Havertz. There's a lot of people that said that they wouldn't be able to play free-flowing football with Kai Havertz. And now they're doing all of that. And again, I don't think he's Zinedine Zidane or anything along those lines. But I think that sometimes you make a prediction. We all would do this, and you see, oh, look, the football isn't as fast-paced as last year. It's because Kai Havertz has entered the team. But we all now know what it was. It was a tactical approach by the team to reserve energy for the second half of the season. One of the biggest reasons Arsenal fell off last year is they exhausted themselves by playing at 1,000,000 miles an hour from the beginning of the campaign. But yeah, look, from my sort of perspective, I think it's 60 million pounds so far. He's done a very good job. If he turns up, even with only 2 more goals this season, but they're winning goals like he's been doing, and he ends up walking away making them 9 to 12 points, that could be the fundamental difference between them being champions of England and also runs again. And I think that is hugely significant. And I just wanted to see what you boys wanted to say about it, because I just find he's such an interesting player in terms of narratives. And Spurs have someone similar to that. I know he's injured now, but Richarlison, and the way everyone was on at him after how much money he cost. And up until the injury, he really started to deliver and score goals and everything else. And I'm always interested to see, I can't ever, each to their own, but when you get an opinion, I know Andy Minton called out YouTubers for doing this today, which I find really strange. Maybe it's different when it's abusive, but sort of the whole, he said something along the lines of YouTubers have a luxury because they can give an opinion, and then when it's proven wrong, they can just apologize for giving a wrong opinion and move on. But in my job, I'd get sacked if I put out the wrong opinion. And I did sit there and think for a second, well, half of our opinions are based on the things the media get wrong in the first place anyway. So don't give us false information and we won't give bad opinions. Sorry, mate?
If that's the case, go make a YouTube channel and don't have someone where you have to answer yes or no then.
I look at it this way. If I have an opinion on Kai Havertz and it turns out to be wrong, and mine is, I thought it'd be awful at Arsenal. So I'm just going to keep it 100. I didn't think he'd score goals. I didn't think he'd influence their season. I didn't think he'd make them a consistent team, and he's very much part of that. I know Andy Minton and a lot of journalists don't like YouTubers apologizing or saying, I got that wrong. I think that's the right way to behave. When you give a wrong opinion, or maybe you're angry at someone, it turns out, I was angry once upon a time at Wayne Rooney for handing in a second transfer request. And then 2 years later, Sir Alex spoke in an interview and said, I probably misinterpreted the situation. He didn't really ask to leave. And I'm like, I called Rooney a bastard. Now, I apologize for it. not that Rooney gives a damn, but that's only because Sir Alex said he handed in a transfer request. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not my fault per se, but yeah, like, I think Kai Havertz has done the business so far. I want to go to a few of these super chats here that have come throughout the course of the show. This one says, the Prem that George is protecting under that shower cap is seeping through his skull. Oh, the perm, sorry. That's what I read. Prem, dyslexia, sorry. It's called growth, folks. Players mature with age and time.
Jesus. This came home with me from Villa Park, so
it's nice, bro. Nice. It's nice. I like it. So I'm just putting in when the super chats are so that people can go to them. Blaze here says, this has to be the definition of British bottle mentality. How about just win a major and shut us up? You can't sit there expecting validation for nothing. I assume that's aimed at Arsenal.
It's true.
First and foremost, proof is in the pudding, right? If you're talking about the EPL, we haven't won it. So fine, we haven't won the EPL in 20 years. It took Liverpool 30 years too, but they did win it. So what I'm saying is nobody's asking for your validation. But we're asking to say, no, hold on. Let me, Patrick, let me finish. Let me finish. You have never won a trophy and you'll never win one, and you're still speaking. So at least
Tottenham have never won a trophy.
No. Please sit down. In your lifetime.
Yeah, of course they have.
In your lifetime.
Do you think I'm 12?
Trophy? The Audi. Are you talking about the Audi? Are you talking about your Audi trophy?
So yeah, they have won trophies in my lifetime.
Yeah. In your lifetime.
Anyways, keep on topic.
Anyways, let's leave that matter out of it. To address the question, right? Nobody's asking for validation about how good you are or where you're at. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying when you say things like, "Oh, they're never going to do it because they are not growing," I'm like, no, but we've seen growth, which is why you should be able to say, okay, let's wait till the end of the season, or let's just chill and watch. But to turn around, like when Tottenham started playing this season, I actually said, these guys look like a big threat. Stop it, buddy. Go sit over there. I said, these guys look like a big threat. And like they can stop anybody, because I've seen the growth, the difference between, your last coach and Big Ange. I'm not giving you validation. I'm only identifying like this is where you're at now. And we can tell that there's some, when Man U this season started playing last season, they won the trophy. They made it to the Champions League. Everybody was like, they're on the up and up. This season, they're going to be up there. And when you began to see the wrongs, you're like, no, this guy is going down. And you can point that out. There's nothing wrong in pointing out how good Arsenal is and where they are. And when they win a trophy this season, then you can give them the accolades. But to sit there and disingenuously not even want to acknowledge that they're miles ahead when the stats even show it is what I don't understand.
Can I got a question for Jem? Is Jem here? Jem, are you here quick? Because I know you want to talk Chelsea quickly. No? Would people say that Fernando Torres is...
I'm here.
Yeah, would you say Fernando Torres was £50 million well spent? And this is a good, 13 years ago?
Better not.
No. Why? Was it not worth your first Champions League for that goal that he scored?
It was worse. Yeah, obviously that in terms of that. But when you look at the overall career at Chelsea, what we got out of him.
Yeah. Would you say you spent 50 million? Well, would you say 50 million quid's well spent?
If you're basing it on the Champions League, yes. But if you're talking about his career and what we got out of him,
I think another striker would have scored that goal that Torres did. I think the difference here, what Torres wasn't doing at Chelsea that he was at Liverpool, is Torres was not single-handedly, but he was scoring so many big and important goals that gave them the lead or won them games. He just didn't do that at Chelsea enough. Does that make sense? And
yeah, I'm just saying, like in this day and age, 50 million quid would be about 100 million, probably, maybe more. I don't know, but.
True.
If Havertz is the one to put them on the pedestal that wins them their first Premier League after 20 years, that's 65 million well spent, mate. Because this guy's getting more goals, and he probably get a couple more along the way.
He does match winners. No, I agree. Exactly. This is to George. It says, so by George's logic, Tottenham cannot win trophies. They are mentally incapable. No one has ever seen Tottenham win anything significant, so it's virtually impossible. Keep up that energy. Waste man. George had a waste man, by the way. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
George is a good guy.
He's only got a red cap on for Arsenal. Don't worry, he's switching.
I mean, what I would say is rival fans will not believe that Tottenham are going to win anything big until they see it. Even when we're in the final, we're going to be the underdogs until they see it. So, yeah. I agree.
I don't. Well, I guess everybody sees things differently, though. Like if the way you guys are playing, if you right now were 1 point away from the top, I literally would be saying I've never seen Tottenham win a trophy. But this Tottenham that I see here right now, 1 point away from Liverpool and City, anything can happen.
By stats, though.
Yeah,
I think there's other factors outside of stats and other things that take.
I agree.
George,
I agree.
George,
The
you're right.
mentality. I think the mentality is a really big part. I just think that Arsenal's mentality, if you look at the growth over the last 2 to 3 years, it has got better. And this year, so what Terry and Dyer are saying is that basically, if Arsenal don't win the league now against a not so good City and all their injuries back, no excuses.
Arsenal have all their injuries back. Yeah, there is no excuses, right?
That's not quite what I said.
What is he saying? Like you have to, Blaze. You should listen to understand and not to respond. Here's what I said. I'm going to say it again. Arsenal, the position that we're in right now is the second time in the modern history of the EPL that there's a 3-horse race, and anything can happen between any one of those 3 teams. So if you don't understand that aspect of it, I have not said Arsenal. I said Arsenal will beat Man City. I've not said we're going to win the league because it's still a 3-horse race. Because Liverpool is still there. They're going to play against us. I mean, they're not playing us. They're playing other people.
Spurs.
And we're going to play Spurs. We're going to play Aston Villa. We're going to play Spurs. So there's still a lot of games to go. But the fact that we have a goals difference, Man U. And guess what? The truth is, we might end up. Look, if this goes down to the wire and it goes down to points difference, that is a goals difference that is going to make the winning. The last game we're probably playing is against Chelsea because they postponed our game. So we might even win it at the bridge. We might even win it at the bridge because the last one we won was what at Tottenham. We've won more leagues at Tottenham than Tottenham has won leagues at their own stadium.
All right, I just want to ask Terry a question on that, because Terry, as you are aware, United versus Arsenal, second last game of the season at Old Trafford. What team are you supporting? Is it going to be depending on the title situation?
No, like I said,
it's a question to Terry, Dio. To Terry.
Why not me as well? When
Terry, as he put out the other day, he's on loan to Arsenal at the moment. He's made a loan signing.
I guess what? So am I. So am I.
Terry's on like a loan with obligation, though. So
sorry, what's the question?
Made permanent. And I was saying it's the second last day of the season, Old Trafford. It's going to be potentially a title decider.
Let it be us.
Are you going to say you'd rather Arsenal win if it means City lose the title?
Yes.
And I'll tell you as to why. It's a singular game, and it will hurt to lose it. There's no doubt about it, and it will hurt seeing Arsenal fans celebrate winning their trophy. But Man City doing a 4-peat is a record that I don't think will be repeated because in 150 years it's never been done. It would also give City the opportunity to do a 5-peat. And what I care most about is the team that has the most amount of trophies and who has the best records with those trophies. So stopping Liverpool from getting the same amount of league titles as us and pulling one further major trophy ahead of Man United and stopping City from achieving what I believe will be an unprecedented record, I'd rather Arsenal win it. Yes, because of the cold, hard light of day, the banter online, I couldn't care less about. It's all fun and games, but at night, I don't know what everyone else does. When I turn X off, when I stop streaming, I don't think about what people are saying or doing online. I don't care what people are there. But what will stay with me until the day I die is the records that are set by football clubs. So any Man United fan who is backing Liverpool or City over Arsenal, you are an absolute disgrace to the history and heritage of our football club, because I don't want any of them to win it, but it's the situation that we find ourselves in. So yes, I would take the loss to stop City achieving a record that none of us will ever see done again in our lifetimes. 110%.
Like that Havertz goal, I celebrated like he was my own. How about that? You feel like when they go against City, there's no Arsenal, there's just we are in this together. You understand? Memories will be reformed once again at some point. Inshallah.
Bad, Kaz. You are down bad.
What, like you lot weren't doing a City pool thing? Like last year, you went in.
Yeah.
I don't want any of this.
There's a super chat question here. This says, question for the Spurs fans. If the Premier League offered you a replay game versus Liverpool, would you take it to let Liverpool go top?
No. Liverpool can win the league on their own merit, again, with their own game. So no, Liverpool are good enough to win the league without that. But
And I agree. This is back to earlier. It says Nani got a red card for the same thing. Yeah, we remember seeing that.
Yeah,
same ref.
I can't believe you lot are saying, well, not you lot. I can't believe George said that wasn't a red card. That's a penalty. That's a penalty all day long in the middle of the park.
Not say that.
And then he did. George said it wasn't a penalty, so it wasn't a foul.
George basically said, McAllister, get up, you puss. That's what he said. Get up, you fat.
That's a penalty, man. I genuinely thought that was going to be a pen as soon as they said VAR checking it. So yeah, shocking.
Yeah, no, I agree. City got played off the park by a B team, lucky 115. Which was worse, De Jong's karate kick on Iniesta or Doku? De Jong.
That was a full-on kung fu.
That was a madness. At least the foul was given. Do you know what I mean? This here says midfield is a problem. KDB doesn't look like having legs. Kovacic, Nunes, not good enough. So it's a major problem for Pep. Also, Rodri is on 8 yellows. This is true. What's
the next benchmark? 10? Is it 10 and you missed 2 games?
10 he gets 2 games.
Yeah.
Well, isn't April the cutoff point, the start of April for that 10 game?
Well, maybe. I don't actually know that. That's a great point. This series, I think, aimed at George. It says Batman and Superman wear underwear over their pants. First time seeing anyone wear underwear on their head. By the way, love you, Tel from New Delhi. Thank you.
That was a good one.
I love how everyone went from City will beat Liverpool because of Liverpool's injuries, weakened squad, to now it's, we never win at Anfield. And this is true. A lot of people predict that. It's a great super chat there. Marco says, 1 point from top, and we are taking down on Man City. Every year is the same thing. City are not gonna win. I don't think anyone said that. Again, predictions are one thing. They definitely can win it, but there's definitely vulnerabilities as well. I think there's a difference.
I don't know what people hear when they hear this thing. Nobody's saying City cannot win it. What we're saying is this is not the same cutting-edge City that we saw last year. What part of that statement do you not understand? Like nobody has said. No. This is how I talk. No, Patrick, because it's almost like I know it's almost like when you say something and people just listen and not listen to respond and not to understand. It's like City is a deadly juggernaut. But they're not the same juggernaut from last season because they're at half tank. And we know if they pick up, they can destroy everybody.
To be honest, the reason they're not getting what you're saying though is because you said a lot of all of this without praising them once. You didn't praise them.
Because the question was
that's all it was. That's why people. No, I get what you're saying, but that's why people are gonna mishear it because that's all they heard was you talking about how bad and how they wasn't this, they wasn't that.
George,
yeah,
but the question that Terry asked was about City. Then when he was going to ask a question about the game, then I can give Liverpool their praise for pressing City well, whooping City's ass, or doing whatever it is that they did. What we asked was, is this the same City? So we're talking about that. I don't talk outside questions. You answer the question based on what it is, and then when we talk about the game, we can then talk about how well Liverpool was and how well they played, how high they pressed with their young players, how they pocketed everybody on the City team and controlled the game in the second half, and how they should have scored multiple goals, if not because their players refused to put away. So those are two different conversations to me.
This here says that the bias side of Pat and George is kicking in. I think that's partly what it is, though, when it comes to some of these questions. Not just use you in general. We all do it in life. We all do it sometimes. You kind of hear something and it's not quite what we want to hear, and we all have a bias. City winning still when look bad, signs of a good team. They're not always winning though. They've dropped 3 points in the. I think they've dropped points in 3 of their last 10, 11 games, which isn't a lot, but it's going to literally be that level of dropping points that's going to cost someone the title. So they've got to improve on that. Last 7 or 8 league games, City only scored more than twice. Sorry, last 7 or 8 league games, City only scored more than twice. That's what bottom corner is saying. I think. I mean, there's the other 2 teams will be outscoring them. Best defense, best attack, best goal difference, rivals scared and hating. Come on, you Gooners. Long way to go, and anything can happen. Terry being the voice of reason. I mean, I still have City. The reason why someone asked earlier why I picked Liverpool as my favourites, I just think it's based on Klopp leaving, the mentality, how they've got through these last 5 or 6 games with this squad, won a trophy. They're not quite top of the league now, but it was the City game. Stay where they are with all those injuries. I don't know if the other 2 teams could have done it. I don't know if they could. If you literally took 7 or 8 of the first team players out of this City and Arsenal team, I don't see them staying where they are. What Liverpool have done in the last 5 weeks has been beyond exceptional. And no one, they just don't lose. It's just been crazy.
Very true.
I think if Rodri gets one more yellow card, he's out for 2 games.
Yeah, when Roger was injured earlier in the season, what happened to City? Those 3 games they played back to back. That's what. Yeah. So
if Rodri gets booked in the FA Cup, he'll miss the Arsenal game.
Is he?
Well, if he needs one more booking, that's one more game. Yeah,
I think he's on 8.
Yeah, he'll miss.
I think he's on 9 because of that Liverpool game. He got booked, in it.
Is he? Rodri's have a look.
Have a look though, just in case. It might not be wrong, but obviously I got told by a City fan.
Man City and Liverpool are better than Arsenal based on what? Not hating, but genuinely curious. Higher in the table, better metrics, better looking football, and we've beaten them both home. H2H.
Head to head
this season. There we go. I'm going to try and get through some of these before the end of the show. Sorry, Ram. Look at their run of games since January. 4 was decent for them. The biggest goal difference win has been by 2. In fairness, the best performance they've had City is actually against Man United, and that's not saying a lot. We're awful. Everton looked like Barcelona at the weekend. Klopp is overrated, maybe. Needed a pandemic to win the Prem, and Spurs were crap in the Champions League final. Worst final in decades. Best manager in the world? Nah.
So how come we're still first when literally 7 of our players are out missing?
You're second.
Starting 11.
Second, factually.
But, first before the City game. And how have we won a trophy?
It's half of our Prem when we join a goal difference with Man City. Where's up?
Ram, say you're joint first. That's what all the Arsenal boys did last year. So
Corey here to see how when it's Arsenal, everyone has something to say. Get your agendas in the bin. The goalpost is always moving for this club. Mike here says losing 1 point to City, 21-22 after going 16-2 in the last 18 games. How can you say that's bottling? No one said Liverpool bottled the league. No one did.
I think Rory said something along the lines that, they didn't get it done. So what are we going to call them bottlers? That's what he said.
Because I think he's making the point that not won the league in a race. He never said they're bottlers. He was suggesting, he was basically saying that doesn't make Liverpool bottlers is what he was saying there, Mike. Thank you. VAR is just a modern game match fixing. You look at the Odegaard becoming Michael Jackson against Spurs, or Alexis taking the kick in the chest and pundits saying it's not a pen. Yeah, the lack of coverage on that I thought was a disgrace, if I'm being honest with you. It was crazy. Where does the idea come from that we want validation? We don't care what rivals think. We just back our team.
This is bull, by the way. There's a good reason why a lot of fans tune in when a rival talks about another club on a good light rather than their own content creations of whoever they do support. There's a good reason. Everyone wants validation from rivals deep down below. You don't need it, but you like to hear it. Do you get what I mean?
It definitely feels nice when your club gets praised by other people. 100%.
It does. It's just, let's not lie to each other. Let's not lie to ourselves. Come on, man.
It's that time of the year when the collapse is coming. Brace yourselves, all Prem fans. The fact that Liverpool and City drew and Arsenal's last-minute winner is making a great story. Can't wait for the downfall, is what Hassan says here. Look at the Spurs boys. Look at the Spurs boys.
No, that's funny.
I love the way he put that one up.
Well done.
But there's also a big difference between last season and this season when you look at all 3 teams, right? This season, look at Liverpool with all the injuries, and they're figuring a way to win. Like they're just somehow getting through. Arsenal has injuries coming back. Like injured players are actually just coming back. This break is going to give us the time for literally almost all our players to be back. So we're going to have everybody, and Man City has all their players too, barring Grealish. So it's going to be an interesting, last 9 games.
I believe this season, from Jerome, hope you're well, brother. He says, I believe this season is the most exciting title race. We have 3 informed teams and anything could happen. Shout out to Liverpool, who refuse to lose, even with depleted squads. It's a very exciting one. I still go back to 2009, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool was fantastic. All 3 teams fighting out the Champions League supremacy as well. Like people, I think it depends on what you were watching or how old you are. Like that 07 to like 2012 period, 3 or 4 teams every year from the Premier were able to win we're able to win the Champions League as well. This is as good as those. This is at that level now. This is the best title race we've had in the last, I think, since 2009, in my opinion, in terms of overall quality. Terry, I love this Deo guy. Keep him coming always. One of the most logical analysts. Always bring, I think he means him back to the terrace. Well, yes.
That was a nice super chat to yourself there, man. It's cute, man.
Yeah, well done for the burner.
The terrace is renowned for unearthing talent. We just are. It's wait till you see our new partnership. It's all about that. Can't wait to announce it one day soon. Just can't do it yet. Can't speak about that online either. But there we go. Spurs did well at the weekend, boys. Oh, top 4 favourites now. Would you say, George?
You know, George, can we hear from rivals first? Let's get some validation. Dio.
Hold on. I need to say this, man. What Spurs did to Aston Villa in the second half was just wrong. You guys, that was wrong on every level.
It was mac and cheese settings, isn't it?
Dude.
Yeah.
You don't even understand. Like
mac and cheese.
I was like at the end of the day, well, there's probably like a 2-2 draw in my head. You know, watching the game every now and then, checking in on it, doing other stuff, and every time it went goal, I check Spurs. Look at I was like, yo, no, you guys play well. I'll give it to you. Ange Postecoglou, buddy, go back to your corner, just go chill. Thank you. I love you. Ange Postecoglou has changed Tottenham. I've said this. As good as we are this season, I dread playing Tottenham. Right now, the form they're in, I dread them. I honestly do. And I will not shy away from saying what is. But I back my team to beat Tottenham any day. But what you guys did to Aston Villa this weekend, if you keep doing this, just like Ange says, he doesn't care about top 4. He cares about winning. If you keep doing this, you're going to be in the title race next season. If you play this way, if you play this way consistently, it'll be a 4 or 5 horse race next season. Because Man is going to try to come back with new management. Chelsea's going to try to come on the up and up. You still have Aston Villa who are still there like this season. Let's see what Newcastle does.
Right.
Like, you know, realistically, it's going to be tougher next season. But if your owners back him next season, if they back him and you play this style of football consistently and up it next season, there's nothing stopping you from being in title race next season, man. Seriously. You guys did very well this season. So yeah.
When they've had this 11 though, they have been consistent though when it comes to, especially when it comes to away from home. Away from home. It's the full. I'm not joking. It's the fullbacks, man. It's more than the centre backs. It's the fullbacks. When they got Porro and Udogi. Like he's just man. Everything comes to light. You can't. This is the Spurs that we were seeing before all the injuries, and now Maddison's starting to click that little bit, which is not nice because I got. Aston Villa's giving me a little bit of hope that we might actually get 5th place Champions League. That's out. Bottom of my
you might do, you know. You might do.
They're going to collapse. I think they're going to collapse.
Yeah. You can catch them 100%.
I mean, your first 11, your first 11 can rip any team apart. Your first 11 can damage any team. Like no jokes. Tottenham's first 11. That's why I said you back your manager up next season. Bring in a few more pieces so that first 11 doesn't burn out. Yo, where did you find Vicario? Like where? Where was
shout out to Don Paratici was
like who was the guy? Who was he? Where was he? Like where did you find that guy? You know what I'm saying? Like from the goalkeeper to so I mean I give it to you guys this season. Your every game, I don't watch every Tottenham game, but I watch the highlights, and I can tell you like what I see in the highlights. Yo, hands up, you're playing good football.
I mean, it was very good yesterday. You were very good. First half was a little bit of a basketball match, very end to end. But you just took over in the second half. And I mean this with respect. When you've got Timo Werner bagging against you in a 4-0 win, Unai Emery should be very embarrassed about that. And look, he's under a lot of pressure because they've got great home form. But this is one thing I'd say. I'm not taking nothing away from Tottenham. Unai Emery reminds me of Poch. I think at the right size club, in the right scenario, with no pressure, they're brilliant. I think you put them into an environment where the expectations are high, there's media attention, because they were 5 points ahead of you. They've got great home form. Beat Spurs, go 8 points clear. You're pretty much guaranteed Champions League football. And what do they do? Just like against Man United, home and away, the old pooper goes. And I genuinely believe that football teams are a very good They're a reflection of the manager. The way you are this year at Spurs, you can see that Big Ange has put his personality, his philosophy, his view of football into that team. And Unai Emery, I think, has done the same with Villa. I think they're a very good team when there's no pressure. But every time this season, everybody says, oh, win this, and they're a point off the top title race. They throw away a 2-0 lead to Man United. Go 8 points clear of Spurs to almost clinch that top 4 spot. Get slapped 4-0. Timo Werner scoring against you. For me, I think Spurs are a better team. You've had a lot more problems this year than they have. Your manager's been there less time. I think you'll pip them to that now. And it's also a shot to the bow to all those Arsenal fans that were like, we should have kept Unai Emery and sacked Arteta. Sometimes I think they've played a bit of a role in this as well when it comes to Aston Villa and the gas they blew up. But yeah, you guys were great yesterday. And I think if your manager's backed in the summer, Spurs are going to be a danger for the next 2 or 3 years under this guy. The only good news for us will all be when hopefully a bigger club comes along and takes him. But that's hard because you guys are literally the 4th, 5th biggest income in the world now. You got one of the biggest wage bills in the world now. You spend, transfer wise, you spend every bit as much as everybody else does in barring Chelsea recently. Like last 4 or 5 years, I think it's only like 25 million less than Man United. You guys have just got to buy the right people. And you did this summer. If you have another summer like that, dangerous Spurs will be properly dangerous next year.
That's the thing, man.
What Spurs? Scary pending.
I'll be the first one to sit here and say that. I'm not going to believe any of Tottenham being league title challengers or anything until I see it. I need to see good improvement. I need to see us consistently getting better. Like you said, this Villa game was a good performance. The first half wasn't that good. I feel like it was similar to some of our other games. It's a bit shaky. We have a lot of control, just not doing that much with the ball. Definitely better than them. And in the second half, we've done what we've done a lot against a lot of teams. We come out the second half and we just blitz teams within a 3-4 minute window and we get 1 or 2 goals.
That was a red card too. That was a red card. That was malicious.
Yeah, 100%.
That was
no intention whatsoever.
What do you?
He just went straight
that,
to boot.
that was a clear red card. You can't say that was a red card. No, don't come here. Look, I don't like your team, but I will call, because if they do it to my team, I want them to give the card. Like,
yeah,
definitely.
Okay, and brownie points just in case there's a dodgy decision in it for the Man City one.
He's getting credit in the bank.
No. Yeah, man. Like, I gotta get credit. Look, anything to win, man. Look, it's part of the game.
No. To be fair,
it is part of the game.
It was a red card all day long, man. 100%, man. George, I disagree with you. I think that we were good in the first half. I mean, both teams were stifled in certain terms of there was no real creativity, but we controlled the game from minute 1. It's the first game in a long time that I felt at ease. Even watching Spurs, even when winning games, I'm always worried that we're going to concede and throw away the game. Yesterday, I was calm and collected because we were in total control. And I think Ange outdid our Unai Emery, who I still think is a good manager. I think he's done wonders at Aston Villa. But like Terry's saying, and he made a good point, I didn't really realise that every time they've got a bit of pressure on them and there's a chance to really create a gap, they crumbled. Like, to lose 4-0, you had John McGinn talking up the game yesterday, saying it's the biggest game in their recent history and all of this crap. And then he goes and does that. It's crazy. And yeah, I agree. Unai Emery didn't manage his players properly because they completely lost their head. Yeah, they lost their head, man. It reminded me of when McGinn did that, Kaz. It reminded me of the Battle of the Bridge when we, went to Chelsea and we just lost it. That's what it reminded me.
Was that game 4-2? Was that 2-2?
Yeah, that was a 2-2 game, but we were 2-0 up. It reminded me of that, where players just weren't ready for the occasion and they just lost it on the day.
The thing is, though, Pat, the only thing I would say about the first half is, we controlled. And I feel like this is the first game I'd say in a long while where we actually controlled the whole 90 minutes.
The whole 100%.
Like we didn't let Aston Villa take parts of the game. We actually controlled, even when they had the ball and we were controlling them in defensively, sort of where they wanted to go with the ball. And the only thing for me is that in the first half, and what I've seen quite a few times from Tottenham this season that I've not been impressed with, is we're not creating, like, we're getting the ball in the box, we're getting to the box, but we're not doing anything with the ball. I think we had 1 shot on goal throughout the whole of the first half, but when I looked at the amount of times we had the ball, the positions that we got in, I felt like we could do a lot more. So the only reason I say we didn't play that well just comes from me knowing that we could do a lot better.
Don't you agree though? Emery does this thing where he tries to set up, trying to think about how the other team's going to be rather than his own strengths. Why are you setting up back five when your team's been really doing good in a 4-4-2.
He showed us too much respect yesterday, and it messed up.
He's done this quite a bit against the big teams.
He's
done this. He's done this because he did it against United, and then he did it against us. He did it against us. Where he opened up for some reason. Well, they did take a side strike to open the goal scoring, but he's done this against the big teams, which is a bit weird, and I've never understood this. And I always thought they're better when they just sit back and hit on the counter with the pacey players that they got with Bailey, Diaby, and Watkins. Those kind of players will be best suited in counter attack.
They are best suited in counter attack, but against Tottenham, from what I did see, you can't do that with Tottenham as well.
No,
you can't. Yeah, you can't try that with Tottenham. You counter Tottenham with Udogie and Pedro, and if Van der Ven is fit, and once they get that ball, they have pace as well.
It's quick.
This might be a case of like correlation and causation. But when Villa played Man United on December the 26th, they were 1 point off the top and they were 2-0 up. They were heading top of the league, bottled it. When they were playing, I'm not too sure what the score where they were in the league when they went to play Man United, but the game this weekend just gone up against Spurs to go 8 points clear in top four, fell apart. Something in that for me. And there's someone put a comment in a minute ago and they just said something like Terry, you can't diss Emery like that. I can, because what he did at Sevilla was amazing. But when you look at Arsenal, when you look at PSG, when you look at what he's doing now at Villa, when he gets to a certain point, it falls apart and you can't. It's like with Poch. Everything I've ever said about Poch has happened at every club that he has gone to. It's like when people talk relive history and go, "Oh, I think Jose deserves another big chance at a big club." Just look at what's happened at the end of all these last 3 or 4 jobs. You can't ignore those patterns for me perfectly. Jonathan here says, with Spurs top offensive players being 27 and up, what type of window would give this team that would make this team complete, especially with most Arsenal and City weapons being under 25?
We're always going to aim for players of a younger profile, and we do need a right winger / left winger to come into this team. But focusing on the age of players or being the weapons in the team being younger it's not something that I'm going to focus on. I want players that are just good, whether they're 26, 27, 28, 24, it don't really matter. I think he's alluding to Son being our best player, with him being at the age that he is. He doesn't like slowing down anytime soon, so I don't think we need to replace him.
27 is a good age, man. I think like 27, you're still within the primes of your career. It's once you hit that 30, 31 years old, that's when you're like, oh, then it's a bit different. But 27, you're fine.
Yeah, that's why you need a good old 18-year-old, 19-year-old now in the wings, like that can understudy him. You know, if you're going to keep on playing, like you want to have that in the academy, you're bringing them up, you're adding them to the team. You know, so hey, it's
I thought that was your screensaver. I didn't know you was actually.
No, it's me. That's my avatar. It's full screen avatar.
Do us a favor, bro. Can you do us a favor? Can you show everybody your Hamza one, please? Show everybody your Hamza one.
Hamza one. Oh, I need to log into another. I need to log into. Oh, let me do Hamza.
Okay, log into it because you got to see his Hamza. His Hamza is the one.
Oh, that's it. I genuinely thought he was on a screensaver. I didn't know he was there.
I wanted to ask Jem as well, just before the end of the show. Obviously, we'll be live after the game tonight. But how are you feeling about taking on Newcastle tonight?
I don't know what Chelsea's going to turn up. Who knows? That's literally what it is. You know, you spoke about reflection of the squad with the manager, and you're seeing it at Chelsea with Poch. It's the same reflection. Nothing inconsistent. Look, we get a lot of stick about the amount we spent on players, and I fully understand it. But when you look at how Pochettino has, and you got to bear in mind, he was brought in as an experienced manager. Pat knows this. I've had conversations with him about his experienced manager into this club. There has to be basics done in with what we're doing, and especially with inexperienced players. At the moment, he suffers with not understanding what his best team is. He suffers on what system to play still, and we're coming to the end of the season because he flip-flops into different systems completely all the time, which doesn't suit us whatsoever. He's struggling to get the best out of any of the players, barring Conor Gallagher, which is a big issue in itself, in my opinion. We've had injuries, but I'm not going to throw that in there because Liverpool have had injuries, and look how they've been performing. You know, I'm not going to go massively over the top about the situation, but I didn't want Poch at the beginning of the season. He was the one guy I just did not want, and the I don't
Who
want to
did you want, Jeff? Who did you want?
What the hell?
You're on
What's
mute,
that
bro.
doing? What's he doing?
Hamza.
Heritage.
You're on.
Heritage.
There we
Hamza.
go. Yeah, that's his Hamza camera.
Hamza camera.
You look like my boy Francis, man. Like, it's mad.
How do I look like your boy Francis? What are you talking about?
Hey, I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture after.
Do you know what's more entertaining? You know what's more funny is that's more entertaining than Chelsea right now. So, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's true. What's your prediction on the scoreline, Jem?
Go on. I'm gonna.
Have you seen the lineups? They just come out. You guys look strong today.
Correa's back, by the way. He starts tonight as well. He hasn't played in ages. So I'm going to go with a Chelsea win. I actually think Newcastle have been on a bit of a decline, haven't they? A bit like Villa. They're slowly going like that.
They've come back a couple last couple games.
They got their full team back for you guys.
We're at home. We're still Chelsea. We're still the best team in London. You know, London is blue and all that.
No, you're not.
You're not better than Leighton Orient, bro.
All right, Terry. Calm down, no. But no, we'll see. Look, I expect us to win. I'm going to go over 2-0. And it just depends again on how he handles the game, problem solves, etc. We'll see.
Shooting yourself in the foot, Jem, man. I'm not gonna lie, Newcastle. I've got some faith they're gonna pull away with something today.
I haven't seen Newcastle.
They've got Gordon. They've got
wishful thinking, George.
It is. I'm shameless. My season's been so bad. My one little last bit of hope is that we just finish ahead of Chelsea. I don't want to be the worst of the traditional top six.
That's because of Don.
And the traditional and Don, because I just want to, literally that's it now. Like shameless on it. Boys, look, I want to thank you all for coming on. I want to shout out our title sponsors, Match Bingo. If you haven't downloaded the game, if you don't play the game yet, get it done. It is absolutely amazing. Such wonderful fun during the game. To be screaming for goals or corners to happen in particular minutes is weird, but it's fun. I was sat there the other day. United scored our first goal. The penalty, it got delayed taking. We scored in the 12th minute. I needed it in the 11th to get that little, the box ticked. It's a great bit of fun. I couldn't believe it. I was like, Bruno, just hurry up and kick the damn ball. But yeah, get it downloaded. Scan the QR code on the screen. Click the link on our description below. Record numbers tonight. Is actually the most viewed live top six show in the history of the terrace. Just under 8,000 people tuning in. Hit the like button before you leave. Please make sure that you subscribe, and we will see you live after Chelsea versus Newcastle as well. So come and join us for that stream. Take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you all again